Hello, upstanding citizens and patriots of the United States, and welcome to the non-violent, non-extremist. Never mind. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Hang Up. It's Wednesday night. I can't even keep doing it with a straight face as the government tries to label me and pretty much anybody on the left or slightly on the left or partially on the left. We're all violent extremists now. Fortunately, for all of us violent extremists who have basically said we're opposed to violence and we're so extreme that what we'd actually like is to prioritize health care and health care access over health insurance and health companies and corporations. It's luckily the government shut down, so I don't think, well, ICE isn't. And so ICE is now just the Proud Boy. I'm sorry, did I say Proud Boy? I shouldn't have said Proud Boy. ICE is just the current wing of this fascist regime running around beating up elderly people. They beat up an 82 or 84-year-old woman today or yesterday, I think it was. They're grabbing anybody they can. They are zip tying kids and separating from their parents because, America. The government is still shut down, and there was this statistic I was looking for, and I'm probably going to get this wrong. Somebody can look it up, but I think I'm correct in saying that either yesterday, today, or tomorrow, if you add up the total amount of days that the government has been shut down in the history of the United States, I think Trump has been president for more than 50% of those days. That might be incorrect. I was in the midst of looking this up when I got an important message and got distracted. But I think that's close or possibly correct. In any case, the Republicans keep blaming the Democrats. And the really easy Democrat meme is, who controls the House? The Republicans. Who controls the Senate? Republicans. Who controls the White House? The executive branch? Republicans. So how can they blame Democrats for a shutdown? And as I pointed out last week, it's because the vote that they need in the Senate requires 60 votes, and they don't have 60 Republicans. And so the Democrats have decided to, I guess, make some attempt to show some backbone and say what we really want is to not eliminate these Affordable Care Act protections that are keeping healthcare premiums from doubling. And yet all they want to do is blame the Democrats and claim that all the Democrats are trying to do is to give healthcare and stuff to illegal immigrants. I'm using their language. Apologies. So Trump tried to play games with this by truthing out, I guess, sending out a message saying that he was meeting with Russ Vought of Project 2025, something that he claimed he didn't know anything about, hadn't read it, didn't want to read it, didn't want to know anything about it, but famously claimed that he was meeting with Russ Vought to figure out which Democrat agencies they were going to shut down. And I mean, you'd think that the first thing people would do is say, Mr. President, there's no such thing as a Democrat agency. That's not a thing. But they're so brazen in absolutely politicizing everything and absolutely being divisive and absolutely trying to blame the Democrats for everything and making enemies out of them nonstop and threatening just the Democrats, that they think they can go after Democratic agencies. I'm sorry, but to whatever extent there might be agencies that Democrats like and have supported, you're already fucking destroying them. You've got RFK Jr. in charge of Health and Human Services. You have Linda McMahon in charge of the Department of Education. You have arranged the least qualified, least intelligent individuals who have run roughshod across these organizations to the point where they are hemorrhaging employees. The government being shut down just saves us time from you probably firing them anyway or them quitting. saying that Dems want to give health care to illegal immigrants is just a flat out lie. So for clarity, Medicare, Medicaid, CHIP, marketplace subsidies, and SNAP are only available to U.S. citizens and green card holders. Then, if you add in refugees and asylees, in addition to citizens and green card holders, those individuals have access to Social Security, SSI, marketplace insurance, TAMF, Section 8 housing, federal student aid, and the Head Start program. No one has access to any of that under DACA, under a non-tourist visa, under an asylum application, or if they are an unauthorized illegal alien immigrant. The exception is that there are some people on here under DACA and non-tourist visas and asylum applications that might, under some circumstances, have access to Social Security. That's the exception. But yet all of those groups, citizens, green card holders, refugees, asylees, DACA, non-tourist visa, asylum applications, and unauthorized immigrants are all required to pay taxes. And the only thing they're all eligible for is public education. So reality, while the Democrats aren't doing anything at all about education or protecting the education rights that, for example, people under DACA should have, all they're trying to do is make sure that healthcare premiums and insurance premiums don't double as the protections for the Affordable Care Act begin to expire. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene, man, this hurts. This is multiple times I find myself agreeing with she of the Jewish space laser fame. But even Marjorie Taylor Greene has abandoned the Republicans on this, noting that while she's not a fan of the Affordable Care Act, her kids' health insurance premiums are going to double if this isn't protected. All of this, by the way, is being done to distract from the Epstein files, as is Mike Johnson, who said he would seat Adelita Grijalva on Tuesday when the House is back in session. He said he would do that. And then yesterday he said he wouldn't. Tried to blame it on the shutdown, whereas he's done this before with other circumstances. All he's doing is proving he's a liar. And I'm waiting to hear if the allegations about his Grindr messages are true, because I don't care if he's gay or if he has a Grindr profile or any of that, but it would further expand on his credentials as a liar and a hypocrite. In other news, the IRS has furloughed nearly half of its workforce. We still need to release the Epstein files, yeah. And Israel, in addition to perpetrating a genocide in Gaza, continues to support the famine in Gaza with over 460 deaths from malnutrition reported so far by blocking or blockading yet another $110,000 in medical aid that was on its way to Gaza for the second time this week. And I'm not even going to go through the reports on how they supposedly treated Greta Thunberg or anybody else. Nothing that we can't verify, nothing that just isn't out there in the open. They are blatantly blockading this stuff. They are actively still starving out civilians as well as Hamas. There's a peace deal. There's not a peace deal. There's a peace deal. There's not a peace deal. Trump's going to go there. Trump's not going to go there. Trump's working with Ukraine. Trump stopped 8 wars. Trump stopped 9 wars. Trump stopped 10 wars. Trump has stopped nothing, including lying. He and his lackeys are continuing to do what they've been doing the whole long. This is the "you're fired" administration. And when they went after Comey, who, by the way, pleaded not guilty today at his arraignment, that in what was clearly, definitely, absolutely not a weaponization of the justice system in retaliation to what Comey has said and done with regard to Trump. Oh, no. That's definitely not the case, he said, obviously sarcastically. But while all this is going on, Pam Bondi is testifying before Congress and managed to deflect nearly every single question she was asked by spinning it around to whataboutism about somebody else or blaming the Democrats for the shutdown. I kid you not, when somebody asked about the $50,000 that was used as a supposed bribe, that, by the way, that money belongs to the government, and whether it was illegally obtained or not, which we have yet to find out because they killed the investigation, we also don't know what happened to it. Was that money returned to the government? Was it put into that individual's bank account? Did they pay taxes on it? All of these questions were asked, and her response was basically to say, well, you've taken money from people you shouldn't have taken money from, and you've taken money from people you shouldn't have taken money from. And I think you should be worried more about that and more about the business deals that you've made than what happened to this money. No, I'm sorry, but you're the Attorney General of the United States, and Cash Patel's the director of the FBI. You're supposed to be concerned about where bribe money from the U.S. government goes, what happens to it. And when you're called before Congress, you're supposed to be able to answer those questions. But there is no accountability. There is no holding them accountable for anything. Pam Bondi has essentially the power of God for all intents and purposes, because she's going to do whatever Trump wants, and Trump's going to get to do whatever he wants. They are absolutely weaponizing the justice system. They're absolutely going after anyone and everyone that they can on these issues. They are shutting stuff down, and they want to, every accusation is an admission. Oh, we're going to release the Epstein files so we can catch all those Democrats that have been, engaged in inappropriate actions with children. Okay, do it. Well, there's some issues. Okay, do it anyway. Are you sure you want us to do that? Because, Clinton's in those files too. Yes, I want you to do it. If the former president is a child rapist, I'd like to know. And I'd like him to face the consequences. Unlike MAGA, I'm not in a cult. I'm not beholden to the Democrats or the Republicans. Yes, I have repeatedly supported the Democrats, just like I used to support Republicans when I was much younger and dumber. But I'm not beholden to any of them. And I'm not looking for exceptions to criminal prosecution and justice because somebody agrees with me about LGBTQ issues. I'm sorry, they can LGBTQ fuck off if they're diddling kids and trying to hide it. I don't care if my mom is in the Epstein files. Fucking release them. The lies are so obvious. Nobody in MAGA could possibly have any excuse at all other than I don't ever pay attention to any news or anything, in which case, how the fuck can you be a supporter of something that you don't pay any attention to? The lies are blatant. The attacks on constitutional rights are blatant. Now, we've got callers queuing up, and I'm going to do some wild stuff tonight, let me tell you. First of all, join me in welcoming Luxander to the show again. How are you, Lux? You having fun?
I'm having such a great time. What's interesting is that I've been trying to stay off social media a little bit. And when I'm on socials, I'm focused more on local things. So in all of that national news that mostly I hadn't heard about, or at least I hadn't heard much in depth about, one thing you did not mention is the National Guard deployment in Oregon, in Portland. Yep. That's the thing that I'm worried about right now is just okay, we now find out. I mean, I think that this is kind of a critical moment where we find out whether this administration is going to respect the courts, whether they're going to respect that process. Although I guess there is an appeals court thing that's supposed to happen tomorrow. So they've already appealed it up to above the level of the federal judge who put the stay in place.
Wow. Well, I didn't get a chance to follow all of that because there was just literally too much.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. This is the flood the zone attack that they've been doing, which is let's give them so much to complain about that even if they get 1 or 2 wins, we'll get 93, 94 wins out of this because they can't attack everything.
Yep. And of course,
So,
Portland is super chill. So I think that's like the
well,
way that we're responding as a city is just being like, we're holding an emergency naked bike ride to protest and showing up in like animal costumes to things. And yeah, just like being aggressively obnoxious and nonviolent.
I'm wondering. So we're going to get to calls here very, very shortly. Um, we're going to do things a little differently tonight. In part because I'm been busy and I'm tired and I'm like genuinely exhausted from the news. So if you'd like to call in about almost anything, even if I have previously told you not to call shows when I'm on, today is your chance. There may be other chances. I am changing the way I address some things and do some things as an experiment, but mainly Lux is here. And like so many of the other co-hosts on the line, I think Lux and I do good shows and work well together. By the way, Lux's pronouns are it, they. And so if you hear me refer to it as it, I'm not being a prick. I'm doing what has been requested. So if you have issues about trans stuff, about pronouns, about gods in particular, I love when people try to actually demonstrate that there's a God. There's a guy, I would have done a video on this, and I might still do a video on it if he doesn't call in because he cowardly decided to run away a little while ago. But this is someone who, here, let me do this. The title of the email is, "How are you certain that there is no God?" Now, anyone who's paid attention to anything that I've said on these shows about God or the debates about God or the fucking hundreds of videos that I put up on the subject should know a couple of things. One, I don't think you can be certain about anything. Two, I've never claimed to be certain that there is no God. And three, atheism isn't necessarily the assertion that there is no God, but the rejection of the claim that there is a God. So there are some gods that are unfalsifiable, and I can't say they don't exist because that would be claiming to falsify the unfalsifiable. There are other gods that are falsifiable and I think have been falsified, but the rest of them exist as claims that haven't met their burden of proof. So this individual already misunderstands what my position is on both certainty and on God. And so they send in this question: what evidence or reasoning has convinced you that the natural world is entirely self-explanatory, that it requires no transcendent cause or sustainer? And as I've explained, that's not my position either. I never claimed that the natural world is the entirety of the universe, nor have I ever claimed that it doesn't require a transcendent cause or sustainer. I'm just not convinced that it does. And if you are, you need to demonstrate it. I know the natural world exists. We can all agree, I hope, the natural world exists in some sense. But if you're going to claim that there's something beyond the natural world, you have now adopted something. I'm not saying that what you're claiming doesn't exist. I'm saying that what you're claiming hasn't yet met its burden of proof. That's it. So this individual, and by the way, that was just the first two lines from the email. There's a bunch more in several interactions. And at every instance, no matter how many times I explain it, they keep avoiding the actual subject and misrepresenting my position. And even after 5 emails, they're like, "You built a career on show me the evidence, but the moment someone points out that your framework rests on undefended assumptions about what counts as evidence, you bail." No, you wrote in to suggest that I hold positions that I don't hold, and then you did all that to try to claim that my epistemology is flawed. Well, show me where my epistemology is flawed, because my epistemology suggests that the natural world exists, and that until such time as the supernatural realm, whatever that is defined and supported by evidence, it is unwarranted for me to believe that it exists. You'll need to show me what's wrong with the epistemology that leads to that. And you can't just do, well, your worldview has no grounding, because your worldview has no better grounding. You're just asserting one.
Which they love to do. Gotta give him
So
credit
here
for
we go.
consistency.
Let's give this a try. Whoops. Sorry. Dirk is calling from New York. Wow. Excuse me. Let me pause for just a second. I apologize, Dirk. You're going to hear a beep. I'm putting you on mute. I forgot to do a couple really quick things. So it's a live call-in show. We've already said that we're going to take calls from a wide variety of individuals and claims and concerns and everything else today, whether you've been previously prohibited or not. A couple of quick things. There is a delay. There's a delay between myself and Lux. There's a delay between us and the callers. We're doing everything we can to make up for it. We're using mute judiciously. I really wish, I'd like to see if we can't get some calls where we don't have to do that, where we say, okay, here's what I'm saying. You know, can you prove that wrong? What's wrong with that? What's the error there? What evidence do you have for something being true? And we're going to have to interrupt because it seems like sometimes people don't define things very well. And also, sometimes people say they're answering the question we asked, but they're absolutely not answering the question we're asked. They're saying whatever's next in their script or trying to do a long way around to something that avoids the question. I want to have good conversations. I want all of us to get better at this. But so Dirk, pronouns they, them, is calling in from New York, and Dirk's calling to say America would be better off if we had Christianity as the basis of morality. The secular society doesn't have a foundation like that. Hey, Dirk, welcome to the show. Dirk,
my
are you
bad.
there?
There's a mute. There we go. Now try again.
Sorry, try again, Dirk.
Hey, how's it going, Matt? How's it going, person on the right? How's
I
everything?
can't hear Dirk.
Nope.
Oh.
Check.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Check.
Sorry, Dirk. We're working out a audio issue here. I think I know what's up. Yes.
Could also be that the delay is 17 minutes.
No, it's
and
not.
So Dirk
It's not.
hasn't even
It's
heard me
not.
yet.
I need
17-minute
this.
delay.
Hold on.
Hello.
Hey, Dirk,
There
we
you
can hear
are.
you now.
There we go.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Pretty
Okay,
good.
so far.
I hear.
I don't want to just go with what the call screener said, but let me start by asking you this. Let me read you what the call screener put in here, and then you can offer any correction that you think is relevant that might clear it up. Okay? Because
Go ahead.
it says here that you're saying America would be better off if we had Christianity as the basis of morality. The secular society doesn't have a foundation like that. Is that what you're calling in about?
Right. Well, I don't know if that was transcribed correctly, but yeah,
No.
I mean, I think America would be much better off if we had some sort of religious backing or some sort of leader who actually believes in some sort of deity and believes there's a higher power than somebody
So
who's an
I'm
atheist.
really confused because first of all, what you're describing violates the Constitution. Second of all, America doesn't have a basis for morality in Christianity or secularism at all. It has a base in law. And to date, every president of the United States has professed themselves to be a God believer. So it seems like everything you just said is really weird.
Well, why is that really weird? Because I think atheism is on the rise, and I'm simply calling to say that it's dangerous to have atheists be in office.
Okay. That's very different from what it said you said. You think it's dangerous for atheists to be in office. Why?
Absolutely. Well, because they think life is meaningless. They think life has
no
value. They think
no, we don't.
randomness.
No, we
Well,
don't.
of course you do. Are you pro-abortion?
Dirk. Instead of
You're
calling
pro-abortion,
in,
right?
I'm sorry, Dirk, I'm talking right now. And that's when you stop talking so that I can correct you so that you can stop misrepresenting us. Instead of calling in to tell us what atheists think, since you're talking to a couple of people who are not God believers, you could just ask us what we think because please stop talking. Okay, I'm just going to fucking mute you. Here you go. I will unmute you if and when I feel like it because I'm already convinced that this call is absolutely disingenuous and cartoonish. So you're calling in to say that we don't value life. And then you're like, you're pro-abortion, aren't you? So first of all, my personal position is that there is no warrant by which someone could legally or morally force someone to remain pregnant against their will. In that case, I'm for abortion. I am absolutely in favor of the rights of pregnant people to terminate a pregnancy when they want to and when they need to. That's me valuing their life. Just because there may, under some models, but I don't agree with this, there may be two potential lives in where their potential rights are in comparison. Prioritizing one over the other doesn't mean that I don't think life has value. I'm going to prioritize the actual living, breathing person who has rights that we already guarantee. I value life. I've spoken about it many times. Lux, do you value life?
A bunch. Yeah. It brings me to tears.
Sweet. It's really strange. And so Dirk, sorry, I'm sorry for getting that wrong. I'm having a really difficult time believing that you're sincere when you call in to say that we'd be better off if we had if America would be better off if we had a Christian leader. First of all, name a president. Matter of fact, let's just do that. You said we'd be better off with a Christian leader. So I'm going to unmute you. Tell me which president we've had that is not a Christian.
Well, I don't believe we've actually had any presidents who were not Christian. That's not what I said.
Okay, you
Except the
said
ones who are Catholic, but
you said that you believe that America would be better off with a Christian as its leader. And since that's always been the case, according to you, how can we be better off than what we currently have?
Well, I'm comparing to what we have versus an atheist being in charge.
I'm sorry.
Understand what I'm saying? I'm making
no,
a prediction
I don't understand what you're saying.
Would remain the greatest country in the world.
I'm sorry. When I get that there's a delay, Dirk, but please try harder. So are you willing to accept that Lux and I, like many other atheists, do value life?
Am I willing to accept that? Is that what you said?
Am I speaking a foreign fucking language or something, Dirk?
Well, the quality on the phone is actually not very good. I can't hear you that well.
The quality coming from your end is definitely bad, but it's not from the phone. So let me try again.
Yeah.
Are you willing to accept that Lux and I and other atheists value life?
Well, you just said you're pro-abortion, so no.
Okay, I'm going to mute you because it's very clear now that you're a fraud and that you're not actually interested in a discussion and you're trying to keep going down the same line. I asked you a yes or no question. I'm trying to move the conversation forward to see if we can find some point of agreement in order to figure out where the point of disagreement is. So when I ask you, are you willing to accept X? That's a yes or no question. So let's start with a yes or no answer. Try again.
No, I do not accept that.
Okay. Why is it that you are willing to decide that despite the fact that Lux and I are both here telling you we value life, that we actually don't value life?
Yeah, because you're saying contradictory statements in the same sentence. You're saying, I am okay with killing a unique human life.
I didn't actually say anything about abortion.
I didn't say anything. And you can't accuse me of making contradictory statements in one sentence. You have to tell me, what's the contradiction?
I just told you.
No, you didn't.
Said you're okay.
Okay, I'm going to mute you again. Boy, Dirk, you're starting this show off really fucking bad. I have a hard time taking you seriously if you will not engage in conversation honestly. As a matter of fact, I have other callers. Should I just go to one of the other callers? Because if all you're going to do is keep saying that you don't believe us, here's the best question I can come up with. And then I'm going to back off just a little bit. So let me unmute you. And once you're unmuted, I'm going to ask you this question. What would it take What would it take to convince you that Lux and I and other atheists care about value life?
Sure, I could answer that. So you would have to prove to me that you truly do not believe the life in the womb is not a life.
Okay. So instead of saying I could answer that and then trying to offer something that's not really an answer, you could just answer it. So what you're saying is, in order for you to believe that we value life, we would have to prove to you what?
Yeah. Well, I just told you, you would have to prove to me that you really don't believe that the life in the womb is a life. Like
I believe the life in the womb is a life. See, here's the problem, Dirk. This is why I can't take you seriously. We're going to mute you again. You don't listen and you don't think, and you're a cartoon trying to walk down a pre-programmed path on a script. And we're both better at this than you will ever be. I believe, as I noted, that there may or may not be life in the womb. And you may have a situation where there are two conflicting sets of rights to two things that are in fact alive. I already acknowledge that, which means you didn't listen at all to what I said, and you haven't bothered to look into what my actual position is on abortion. So I'm going to ask Lux. Lux, do you care if Dirk believes that we value life or not?
I mean, not really. I also don't really think it, like, with people like this, that anything you could possibly say would change their mind about whether you value life. Like if I were to successfully convince Dirk that I believe that a zygote is not alive, whatever definition that means, like, oh, we could get into an interesting philosophical conversation, but that's not really what the point of the conversation is. And at the end, I'm just going to be accused of being a monster for not believing that a baby is a human life. So I just also think that the line of questioning is kind of pointless in the first place, and that it's like trying to get us to say something more than it is trying to have a conversation.
All right, let's try this then. So, Dirk, I'm taking you back off mute because I'd like to maybe let Lux interact with you a little bit. I don't care what you think about literally anything. I don't care what you think about us. You're basically calling us liars. And then when I ask you what would change your mind, you set a standard that is based on a position that I don't hold, which means you're not paying attention or you're not sincere about any of this. And so I don't care if you think the United States would be better off with Christianity as its foundation or a Christian leader, because those things violate the Constitution. And I'm a veteran and an American citizen, and I'm not going to fall in line under Christian nationalism. I don't care if you think it's better or not. Lux, have you got anything to talk to Dirk about?
I mean, you're right that we did end up on a completely different subject than what he initially called in for. I kind of forgot, actually, that this was originally about atheists in office, which I was like, oh yeah, that's an old conversation. I remember back when there was that survey that said more Americans would trust a rapist in office than an atheist. And boy, howdy, does that not just keep bearing out truly over and over again. I mean, I could have an interesting conversation about abortion and the value of life. And, also I just have to say, Dirk, that like you are like creating a lot of associations with the term atheist that are not necessarily there. Like famously, Christopher Hitchens, one of our big guys, one of our big famous guys, he was pro-life. So there are pro-life atheists who actually, I think that what he said in his book was that it's like silly of feminists to discount the value of the zygote. So yeah, anyway, I don't know, Dirk, do you want to throw down about any of those topics?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm still a little flabbergasted how you don't understand what I'm saying when you're claiming you care about life, but in the same sentence, you're saying that you're okay terminating a life in the womb. But I mean, if you don't understand that, that's fine, I guess.
Well, I haven't yet stated my position. Would you like to know my position?
Sure, go ahead.
I believe that people have a right to violent self-defense. So I think that if a person is pregnant and they don't want to be, I'm just going to go ahead and grant you that the fetus is an entire separate other person in this particular like scenario that we're discussing.
You don't
I
believe
think
it is? You have
no,
to
no, no. Hold
grant
on. Hold up. If I'm going to just say that that they are deserving of all the rights, like, you know, the way that pro-life people want there to be like, this is a whole person, you know, let's get child support started from the date of conception and all that jazz, you know, assuming that we go down that route, I would still think that if another person who is another separate legal entity wants access to my body, to inhabit my body for 10 months, to if I don't get enough calcium in my diet, then my teeth will fall out because the fetus will take the calcium from my teeth. The maternal mortality rate in the United States is abysmal, considering that we are a first world country that's supposed to have like some of the best medical care in the world, allegedly. So a pregnancy that I do not want is violence on my body that is occurring that I do not want. And I think that women and people who can get pregnant have a right to violent self-defense. So yeah,
Right.
that sometimes means you kill your attacker. In this case, like the parasite invading your body and stealing your nutrients, and that could potentially kill you on the way out, likely to kill you on the way out in this country, as a matter of fact. So I don't think that the
Right.
value of life comes into my consideration for abortion at all, actually.
And this is Exhibit A for atheist morality. Let me ask
Do
you
you
this.
think?
Is-
Okay, hold
is
on.
there-
No, hold
is
on.
anybody entitled-
No, Dirk. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
If someone is about to rape me, and in the course of my
Yeah.
defending myself and preventing that from happening, I kill them, does that indicate that
Yeah,
I
that's
do not
violence.
value
That's
human
fine.
life?
That's
No,
fine.
Dirk. Answer the
You
question. That's a quick
equating-
yes or no.
Yeah,
Does
no,
that
I think that's
indicate?
totally fine.
Does that indicate
Absolutely.
that I do? Okay, so you understand that I value life regardless of taking
Yeah,
self-defense
You're equating a
actions.
baby with a rapist. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
This
it is
Exhibit A.
invading my body. It's an invasion of
so-
my body. It's an inhabiting of
Well,
my
that's what
body.
your body
It is a
is purpose
stealing of
built
my
for, but
resources.
it's
Oh,
literally
another
what your
no,
human-
body
now
is
you're
built for.
making a declaration about what somebody's body is purposely built for.
Well, of
And
course,
that's an
yeah.
assertion. That's an assertion of your
The
religious
female
conviction.
body is
That is
designed
not an
around
assertion
housing-
of anything
housing
at
babies.
all related to any rights at all. You have trodden
So let-
into it quite handily now.
Conservatives just don't care about consent. Like, you just cannot fathom the idea that whether or not my body was designed for a given purpose, I can choose. Like, I am not obligated to be an omnivore, even though we have evolved to eat meat. People choose to be vegan. People choose to take birth control. Like, people choose to terminate pregnancies, you know? Sometimes we are not like
Look,
slaves
can I
to our
ask you a
biological imperatives.
Lux, do you mind if I ask you a question?
I suppose.
Is anybody obligated to your free labor?
Seems really off topic, Dirk. I don't know what that non
How is
sequitur
that
was
off
about.
topic? You're saying nobody's obligated to your body for, you could have violent self-defense if someone is invading your body. What happens
Yes.
if somebody is using your free labor? Can you do violent
How do you
self-defense?
how do
against
you
them?
use somebody's free labor?
Are you asking me if I
Well,
support
can you
slave
just answer
revolts?
the question?
Are you asking if
No,
I support
I'm
slave
trying to
revolts?
find out what you mean by free labor.
Yeah. Do you support slave revolts?
Yes.
Sure.
You do, right? Because it's free labor and it's immoral for you to do all this work for nothing in return, right?
No,
So
that's
should-
not at
should a
all. That's
mother
not
be
at
able
all
to
the issue,
kill her
Dirk.
infant
Dirk,
because she's working for the infant to keep it alive?
Okay, I'm going to mute you because you're really bad at this. The reason I'm opposed to slavery has nothing at all about it being free labor. You right-wing talking point moron. It has to do with ownership of an individual and violating their bodily autonomy. I can and do free labor. I'm schooling your punk ass for free right now. You're not entitled to it. I am freely giving away the schooling, as is Lux. Are we getting paid to be on this show? Yes, but this one I would do for free as well. And I have for the overwhelming majority of the 20 years that I've done this, because I didn't even monetize my YouTube channel until last December, despite having done this for 20 years. So you don't understand what our position is. So you come up with a cartoon version of it over and over. You are stuck like a dog with a bone on, let me present this because I think it's a contradiction. No, I am supporting an individual's right to bodily autonomy. That is the foundation for why I am okay with abortion. But also, abortion, like every other freedom, should be permitted until such time as someone can make a compelling case to deny such a freedom, to deny such a right. Similarly, I'm opposed to slavery, not because it's free labor, but because it's a violation of individuals' autonomy and rights, the individual's sovereignty. Free labor is fine. Slavery isn't free labor. And it's absolutely disgusting and silly for you to try to pretend that atheists, here I am, a secular humanist, an atheist who values life, autonomy, and consent. And it seems that you only value life and you don't want to face the consequences of which life do I prioritize. If, for example, Lux was talking about becoming pregnant, even if we were to concede that Lux is alive and the entity that has invaded Lux's body is alive, you would then be in a state where you are choosing to prioritize the rights and life of one individual over the sovereignty of another. You are not doing anything to protect this. You are granting special rights to the fetus that do not exist. And your excuse for this is to try to suggest that we're hypocritical because let me make sure I get this right. We're opposed to slavery. We are in favor of healthcare. We are in favor of individual rights and autonomy. And somehow we're the immoral ones who should not be running the country. I just want to make sure. Are you actually saying that with a straight face, Dirk?
Well, I'm also opposed to slavery, just to be clear, as I am a Republican.
Why?
And Republicans
Why?
are the ones who
Why?
abolish slavery.
Why are you? Why? Okay, stop it. I'm so sick of you, Dirk. You're so fucking dishonest. I called you out and I pointed out that you were wrong about why we're opposed to slavery. And what was your response? Well, I'm also opposed to slavery because I'm a Republican or whatever else. Okay. If you're opposed to slavery, why do you call in and keep getting owned? Meanwhile, now that I've corrected you on what our position is on slavery, would you like to retract that?
What, that the mute sound keeps interrupting your question because you keep muting every 5 seconds.
You know why, Dirk? You know why, Dirk? Because you're really bad at this and I have to keep muting you. If you could have a conversation and actually answer the questions, if you could actually have a fucking conversation, if you could actually have a fucking conversation, if you could actually have a fucking conversation without interrupting, being honest and answering the questions, you'd never get muted and you never hear that noise. Are you going to retract your claim? Because you misrepresented why we're opposed to abortion. Please explain why my opposition to abortion is inferior.
Well, to be clear, I never said you're for slavery. I asked the question to Lux.
Dirk, I swear to the God that you pretend you believe in, you lying fraud. I'm going to ask you a question when I take you off mute. And you're going to answer that question. And if any words come out of your mouth that are not an answer to that question, you will be disconnected. Let me unmute you. Don't say anything. I'm going to ask you the question again. Here's the unmute. And now that we're not going to have to worry about a beep, I gave you my reason for opposing slavery. How is that reason wrong?
Well, I don't think it's wrong. I think you're...
Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you for acknowledging that my position is not wrong. All right.
You should call Chewed Gum. I bet they would have fun talking to him.
Here's a question. That way I can take a breather. This is a question that I don't need to talk about at all because I'm not even going to pretend to get it. And I'm actually interested in the answer, even though I've heard parts of it before. So Maureen is calling from Canada to ask a question about the it pronoun. So Maureen, welcome to the show. You're on with Lux.
Hello, Lux.
Hello.
Yeah, I've listened to you a few times talking about the pronouns, and I guess I'm just trying to clarify it. Maybe I've worded this wrong. Obviously, you must feel the traits that we assign to a he and a she. Am I getting that right, or you just don't? Like, I really don't know how to word this. I mean, it's confusing to me that don't you don't feel them, or you don't experience them, or you just they don't feel right to you. Is that why you
Sure.
use it?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of, it ties into a maybe broader question about like non-binary gender in general, because lots of non-binary people in general, like I'm just using that term as a broad catch-all, like many non-binary people have more specific identity labels that they use, but like just broadly, those who do not identify strictly as either men or women. Um, yeah, sometimes it is like a combination of things, or sometimes it's more of like a feeling of alienation from the entire concept. And I think that I fall more into that line of like, I just feel sort of alienated by the whole concept of gender. I don't mind playing with it. I like, I don't mind, wearing makeup. Like it's a recent hobby that I've gotten into. I did not do it growing up, and it's like a cool thing to learn. And now I'm like, ooh, look at the shape of that person's eyes. I don't know. I just noticed things that I didn't notice before, but I'm not like, ooh, this is gender affirmation or anything. I don't know. I just find the entire concept a little bit weird. Um, and I also have felt that the they them pronouns are developing into like there is kind of a third gender aura that is developing around the kind of idea of a they them. And I have also felt alienated from that as it has started to kind of emerge as its own separate thing. So yeah, I just feel weird, and that's why I like it. It's pronouns. I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. I don't know why, but it's just the vibes.
So it's just an individual, what you yourself are feeling inside. Um, it's not against the fact of what we say a he is or a she is, because
I mean, I
I think we
I
all
do
have
have a lot of
those
questions
traits
about
in
those
us.
things. I
Pardon me?
think that it varies so much over time what we associate with men and women, that like I do think I'm fully on the side of like these concepts, like they exist to communicate certain things. Like if I say I'm a man, then you can kind of have a collection of ideas of what that means. But there are men who like to do drag and do that crazy makeup stuff, and there are men who like to work on cars, and there are men who are committed fathers and stay at home husbands. So like even within that broad concept, there's a lot of wiggle room and flexibility, especially over time. That you know I would be willing to say that they could be completely the opposite in 100 years. Like all the expectations for gender could be the opposite, because that's like a social thing. And like maybe there could be a society where even though the females pop out the babies, like maybe the males are exclusively the caregivers and the women all go hunting, and like they continue hunting up until the moment that they pop, like when they're pregnant. Like I don't know. Um, just because there are biological facts doesn't necessarily, that's not mutually inclusive with the idea of our current understanding of binary gender expectations.
Yeah, I get that. I understand more now listening to you to these shows about being like gender fluid, because I think most people do have a what we identify as a he or she traits in them, and they feel different at different times. So I can see where somebody is just not comfortable with those, I guess, and it's hard for them to say, well, no, that's not me. I don't know why. It's just not me. I don't want to be that way, or I don't feel that way. Um, so I get that. Can I ask one more thing? If I see when they talk about gender a lot, that I get the impression that when men uh, are teased about crying, or being, empathetic, or hugging each other, they're teased about it because I think they see it as being feminine. And it's like, why are they putting that down? Like, what's wrong with being feminine? So to me, it's a real bit of a prejudice there. I suppose women do it too to men because they try to say that men are just too aggressive or something. But I don't understand why you have to put one down. I mean, aren't you supposed to love one another? Aren't you supposed to want to get along with other and accept one another? So to look at somebody's traits as, well, that's not good enough. It's like almost treating you like you're second class or you're just not good enough. I mean, does that make any sense?
Totally. I mean, I don't think anybody has I feel like an alien in these situations, so I'm fully on the outside of it. Like, I do catch strays, like people perceive me as a woman, so I catch misogynistic strays sometimes. It does not hit the same way, I think, as it does for women when they receive misogyny. Like, I'm just like, oh, okay, well, you tried. Like, I don't know, it just does not land. But I do think that the gender wars, as it were, this kind of like social idea of like tension and like conflict where I think it fundamentally comes down to like, we need to stop raising our children as though they're two separate species, because they're not. And obviously, if men have a completely discrete set of hobbies that women are not allowed to partake in, and the same on the opposite side, that women's hobbies are like taboo for men to partake in, you're going to just consistently have heterosexual couples who hate each other and have nothing in common. And so many other kinds of antagonism will develop, I think, along those same lines, where you do have that, like, we teach boys not to be emotional, and then they're not very good partners. And that's why the divorce rate, like, that's why women initiate divorce so often. So there's a ton of different things that go into that. And I agree with you that it's weird and that we should stop. And like, I think that that's part of what, like, I guess you could frame it as like a gender abolition or gender anarchist perspective that, just like starting from a young age and throughout the life of people, we should stop trying to like force them to be one thing or the other and just start raising people as people and acknowledge and celebrate both our differences and our similarities, because I think we focus too much on our differences.
Yeah, I think you should celebrate the differences. I don't think putting one down for whatever reason, that's just wrong. It's just treating people as not equal. It's just another way to find a way to, not treat people right, I guess. Anyway, that's all I really had to say. I'm glad I had a chance to talk with you about it.
Yeah. Appreciate you calling, Maureen.
Thanks,
Okay, well, thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
You too. So, first of all, I got a couple of quick announcements to knock out. And that is, you're watching The Line. This is a network dedicated to call-in shows in particular, and we have a bunch of them. You're happen to watch my show, The Hang Up. It's here every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Central. The Transatlantic Call-In Show is your opportunity to engage with trans folks like Lux, like Arden. And tomorrow it's Ben and Josie. That show's on at 2 p.m. Central. And so you get to call in and interact with real live, honest to goodness trans folks who will answer all your questions about why you are a bigot, why you're not a bigot, why people might be perceiving you as a bigot, how to avoid people perceiving you as a bigot, questions about pronouns, about sports stuff, about what it's like. And let me tell you right now, as someone who is living this in the direct firing line, it is absolutely terrifying just being someone who lives with and loves someone who is trans, let alone being in that position. The next caller, there's going to be something we're going to talk about real quick, and I'll pull up a one-up and read it, but we're not quite there yet. But that's Thursdays at 2 o'clock Central. You can call in the Transatlantic Call-In Show. In addition, there are special shows on the weekends sometimes, some Calling It Nows and Cus I Wannas and HOSTilities and stuff. So it's best if you like and subscribe. Genuinely, if you haven't liked and subscribed, what are you doing? I mean, even if you hate us, it would be nice to know when we're shit talking you. Just like you should go subscribe to my personal channel if you're the person that emailed and then refused to call in, because I'm definitely making a video of all those emails that you sent in, because it's absolutely exhausting to point out, here's someone who wrote in who misrepresents my position over and over and over again. Then what happens with the first call we take tonight? Dirk, you atheists don't value life. We do. We just value other things as well, like the quality of life, like including consent,
What a
including
concept.
individual autonomy. Because we're not just about surviving, and we're not just about, I got mine, fuck you if you can't get yours, libertarian style, right-wingy stuff. However, there's a bunch of other shows. And the Sunday show coming up this Sunday, I'm going to be on with Austin Archer. That's at Sunday at 2 p.m. Central. The Sunday show after dark next week is going to be Forrest and Eric from Skeptics and Scoundrels. That's at 7 p.m. And next Monday, the 13th, the Skeptalk episode is going to be Forrest and Erica. So, and Lux is producing that one. So get ready for like a 12-hour, 13-hour show, Lux.
So actually, it's my anniversary, and I got someone to cover me for that night. But they said allegedly Forrest has an exam the next day, so they're going to do a normal length Skeptalk, and I'm putting that in quotes because we will see.
That's the funniest load of horseshit I've
believe
ever
it
heard
when
in
I
my
see
whole
it.
life.
I think
Anyway,
that they
and
are
then on
going
Tuesday
to set a
nights,
goal for fundraising. If we hit a certain SSA goal, they are planning to do like a super extra long Erica and Forrest stream. So look forward to that at the SSA thing.
Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. is Chewed Gum. Taylor and Alyssa and others get on to talk about purity culture and sex and sexuality and a lot of secular issues from a women's perspective. And it's great stuff. Everybody loves it. If you're not calling, you're not watching, I don't know. How did you even find this show if you're not looking at the others? Next Wednesday on the Hang Up, I will be back with promise.
Promise.
I could not be happier. But we have calls, and right now Yoshi is calling from Texas. Yoshi, Prezi, him. How you doing, Yoshi? What's going on?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I'm just pretty concerned about the political environment here in Texas, especially after the press release yesterday, a press release yesterday from Attorney General Ken Paxton.
Let me pause you. If Arden can take me to a 1-up, I actually have the write-up for that I'll put on the screen and read real quick. So here we go. This is from October 7th. Attorney General Ken Paxton launches undercover operations to infiltrate and uproot leftist terror cells in Texas after increased political violence. I'm just going to read this in its entirety. This is from texasattorneygeneral.gov. So this is from the official government site. In response to the political assassination of national hero Charlie Kirk, fuck you, Ken Paxton. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And the disturbing rise of leftist violence. Oh, I'm sorry. Fuck you again, Ken Paxton. Because first of all, Charlie Kirk was not a national hero. He might have been a hero to a third of the nation, because those people are stupid and or immoral. There's not a rise in leftist violence, at least not in any sense that is outpacing the right-wing violence, as is shown by all of the actual data that the government is scrubbing from websites. But we'll continue. Attorney General Ken Paxton has launched undercover investigations. Okay, I got a pro tip for you. It's not undercover if you make this fucking publicity stunt announcement. Well, I'm a member of the governor's secret undercover. Yeah. into various groups affiliated with left-wing political violence known to be operating in Texas. I can't wait to see what kind of left-wing violence exists in Texas. I live in the bluest of the cities. By the way, all of the cities in Texas, the major cities, all of them, the main cities, are blue. And so we're surrounded by Texas, but we'll never surrender. I live in Austin. Where's the violence? Because I've been here since 1995 or 1996. I have yet to see any left-wing political violence anywhere in the vicinity of Austin. But to be fair, I also don't tend to see right-wing political violence in Austin as well. Austin is the smoke weed, swim in town lake, liberal, hippie, let's keep it weird town that we just let the governor live here because that's where they built his house, and hopefully someday we'll get a governor that's not garbage. But let's see what he says. Quote, leftist political terrorism is a clear and present danger. Corrupted ideologies like transgenderism and Antifa are a cancer on our culture and have unleashed their deranged and drugged up foot soldiers on the American people, said Attorney General Paxton. So first of all, Antifa isn't a group, and it means anti-fascist. And so when Trump or Attorney General Paxton declare Antifa the enemy, they're basically saying they are fascists. When you declare the anti-fascist individuals to be the enemy, you are saying you're a fascist. So continue, fascist Attorney General Paxton. Quote, the martyrdom of Charlie Kirk. This is an official government official posting that Charlie Kirk is a martyr on the official government website. Church-state separation is dead. The rule of law is dead. Truth is dead. Honor and dignity is dead. Any respect for the Constitution or the rights of individuals is fucking dead. But he continues, the martyrdom of Charlie Kirk marks a turning point in America. Oh, because all those kids that got killed by guns, that wasn't a turning point. Shoot one college dropout poser debater, and all of a sudden that's a turning point? I mean, there shouldn't be this violence anyway. Neither Charlie nor anybody else deserves that. None of us here are advocating for violence in any respect. And yet you want to label us the violent extremists. So because he thinks that Charlie Kirk's a martyr, he says, there can be no compromise with those who want us dead. I don't want you dead. I want you to live to be a very, very old man explaining to your kids, your grandkids, and your great-grandkids how you were a fucking fascist piece of shit who went after people who were trying to make the world better for those who are underprivileged, those who are marginalized, those who aren't in the majority, those who stand up and speak to defend the rights of those who cannot do it on their own. They need that support. But anyway, I want you to live that long life. To that end, he continues, I have directed my office to continue its efforts to identify, investigate, and infiltrate these leftist terror cells. To those demented souls who seek to kill, steal, and destroy our country, know this, you cannot hide, you cannot escape, and justice is coming. You know what this is? This is not only a publicity stunt to El Presidente and all of his MAGA followers, but when they fail to turn up these leftist terrorist cells, it'll be because they made the mistake of warning them that they were coming after them, and all those terror cells decided to break up because they're afraid. That'll be
Muted
the excuse.
yourself.
I'm not muted.
Okay, sorry, it cut out for a second.
Oh, sorry. The press release continues, the radical left has incubated an environment where political violence is not only justified, but celebrated and praised. In July, nearly 24 armed leftists connected to various Texas-based Antifa-like groups. Wow. He knows Antifa isn't a group, so he can't say they're connected to Antifa groups. And by the way, Fox News keeps putting up this fake guy in a mask to pretend like he's ex-Antifa, Mexican mafia, ex this. You're being lied to nonstop. But he continues. Texas-based Antifa-like groups ambushed an Immigration and Custom Enforcement agency in Alvarado, Texas, on September 10th, 2025. A leftist assassin connected to the radical transgender movement murdered Charlie Kirk because of Kirk's bold support for truth, love, country, and you guys, you can stop blowing him. He's dead. 2 weeks later, another deranged leftist opened fire at an ICE facility in Dallas, Texas. President Trump has officially designated Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. Yeah, these are the right-wing sycophant fascists falling in line with the Trump administration. That's 100% of what this is. And since Yoshi's been on hold this entire time, I'm assuming that's what you wanted to address. So welcome back, Yoshi.
Hey, thank you. Oh man, I got you riled up.
No, Ken Paxton did.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? What concerns me is the loose language and also there's biblical quotes in there. I mean, well, not entire quotes, but sections of quote, kill, steal, and destroy. Like, where have we heard that before in that exact
Iron
order?
Maiden?
You know?
I'm sorry. I had to go for the easy joke.
It's very disturbing. And I just wonder, does that mean they're coming after free speech now? Because I heard Trump today say something about to the effect of, or no, exactly, and I quote, I'm going to misquote it. He said something to the effect of, we got rid of free speech because what did he say? Yeah, it was just entirely, I can't even repeat it. It was so ignorant what he said. Yeah, it's just clearly divisive, the type of language that we have serious government officials using, and it just feels like a civil war, like a political driven civil war on anybody leftist. And the type of language used in here is just, I don't know. Are you guys worried at the ACA about being having the transatlantic show and things like that?
Excuse me, Yoshi. We're not the ACA. I have nothing the fuck to do with the ACA. Fuck the ACA in the face. Thanks for reminding me.
Oh, the atheist community of Austin is not affiliated with the line?
Nope.
Absolutely fucking not. The atheist community of Austin is a garbage organization run by a liar and a thief.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry. I mean, I'm going to retract that because I don't know who's running it, but the person who used to run it lied and stole 18 years of my emails. So.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna have to look into this. Did not know all this. Well, I want y'all to get some more calls.
It's only
you
been
kind of
3 or 4
basically
fucking
said
years.
everything. Yeah.
Yes, we
crazy.
are not remotely associated with the
basically
atheist community of Austin. I don't know what they're worried about. Maybe if they'd worry about, I don't know, showing some integrity instead of just paying their employees and lawyers, we wouldn't still be fighting. Sorry. I'm a little pissed off when people still, after so many years, think that I have anything to do with the organization that took away my life membership, took away my email account, and said, yeah, you can leave, and then keep posting clips of me in order to pay their employees. Fuck you, Vern. Anyway, Yoshi, you can call them and find out what they're worried about. But yes, we're terrified over here that we are to the point where I'm thinking about moving and leaving the state, if not the country under some circumstances.
I'm sorry to hear about that. Yeah, people listening to the show, I mean, wake up. these we're human beings. We may not think like you, but we're not violent. We've just been talking. I haven't known Matt personally, but I've been listening to Matt for years, and he may sound like an asshole, but if he's committed a crime, you know, he would probably be arrested.
Yes. And I am definitely frequently an asshole.
Well, me too, but that's not a crime, and there's probably a reason for it. It's probably because of all the covert assholes who team up and bully everybody else. So, yeah.
Well, we're all watching this stuff, Yoshi, and we are all concerned. We're all concerned. I mean, when we have the Attorney General of Texas is a right-wing fascist Christian nationalist lunatic who even fights with the governor about whether or not we should or shouldn't legalize weed or hemp or whatever else. And they're fighting, you know, him and Governor Hot Wheels are fighting about that kind of stuff while other things are going on. By the way, Governor Hot Wheels is evidently, to my understanding, something that he's fine with being called. I'm not doing that as a pejorative. I know that he has laughed and his friends have referred to him that way. I save my pejoratives for, you know, other people. But we're sitting here and we're watching an absolute fiction take place where the Republicans are in power. They are ignoring the courts when it suits them, ignoring precedent when it suits them, ignoring rule of law when it suits them, ignoring due process when it suits them. They are rounding up people. They are activating military to go into cities in the United States to potentially actively engage with United States citizens. They have ICE agents beating up the elderly and taking kids away. They have declared anyone who is on the left, and for example, the Heritage Foundation would like for anyone who even believes that anything less than full-throated support for trans rights issues actively harms even the psychological disposition of trans folks. Anybody who even believes that, they want them labeled a violent extremist. I wake up every single day waiting for everything in my life to be taken away, including the people I love and interact with. It is an absolutely bizarre world to wake up and find that after so many years of speaking with people who seem incapable of having a rational conversation, of expressing a thought honestly, of having people just constantly misrepresent my position, even after, like, listen to the calls and read the emails, even after they say, here's your position, and I say, no, that's not my position is this. They come back and pretend that the original position that I already rebutted is actually my position, because that's all they can do is stay on script and go with whatever they've got handy, because they cannot think. They have not been taught to think. They have not been taught how to figure out what's real and not real. And so we're in this absolutely strange world where the inmates are running the asylum. The conspiracy theorists are running the show. The least competent, least honest individuals are running the government. And they have decided that while Pam Bondi sits there and says, finally, the Justice Department is no longer being weaponized, they're weaponizing it more than anyone in the history of the world. They are shutting down dissent, free speech, the right to burn a flag. The only reason I haven't gone to burn a flag since Trump went and did his reminder is because I don't have one handy. I know I cannot find, I had a box of flags specifically to burn them the next time somebody tried to make it illegal to burn a flag. I can't find the box. Otherwise, I'd be burning a fucking flag live on YouTube or wherever else I need to, because I'm tired. They're attacking every fucking freedom, and they're doing it in the name of, I don't know, gun rights, Jesus Christ in some weird sense, and white status privilege. This country was given to the white man, or the white man earned this, and everybody. It is absolutely, yes, Yoshi. I'm absolutely terrified. Thank you for calling in with that particular issue. When we get more information about it, I will definitely update.
All right, thank you. I'll let you get to other calls, but also in NSPM 7 and how it relates to that, your viewers might want to know about that as well. But it was great talking to y'all. Thank you.
So in addition to you not knowing that I haven't been with the ACA in 3 years, you should go back and watch last week's episode of this show where I covered all of that.
Oh, cool.
But thanks. At least you're staying on top of it. You're staying on top of it without me having to do the work for you. So I guess I should be thanking you, because if I didn't know and hadn't already covered it, you would be making me aware of it. So thanks. All right. It's just so exhausting. Just so exhausting.
Yeah.
Lux, do you have a safety plan? Do you have a get out of the world plan?
I mean, I moved from Kansas to Oregon, and now that I'm here, I don't think I'm going anywhere. So I don't really know that I have. I mean, so when I'm thinking of my safety plan, I'm like, I need to get ready for that big earthquake that we're going to have at some point in the nebulous future. I truly just I don't want to leave. Like, I wanted to move up here, and now it's like, it's where I want to be, and I'm hoping that the legal protections will exist here. And I think that, like, when the United States likely balkanizes, I think the West Coast is going to be the place to be, because we've got these 3 contiguous states that have, one of the strongest economies in the whole world with California. So I'm just kind of hoping to bide my time until the economy and climate change, as well as the fascism, I guess, come to like a head, and everything kind of collapses on its own, and I get to focus on, the farms near me and making sure that we have agriculture infrastructure, because the climate change thing is the thing that I'm worried about more than any of this political shit, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I feel like all of this stuff is like bad, but it's also just part of all of the bad that is yet to come. And like, even the people in power right now are going to be blindsided, because I don't think that most people are aware of like how precipitously bad it's going to get in an exponential manner. So I don't have a safety plan, I guess.
I'm sorry. I'm
It's okay.
I'm multitasking because I'm not at all in chat today, which is, I'm not watching the show. I'm not watching chat. I'm hoping we get a few calls that are good like that. But I got an email in, and it was really interesting, because it says, your side are the fascists. When a community or platform bans someone simply for expressing a different opinion, it's a clear sign of intellectual intolerance. It's like they're saying your ideas are dangerous, so you can't speak them here. That's textbook fascism, where the state, or in this case, the moderators, control what people can and can't say. In a truly free society, people should be able to express their opinions without fear of censorship. When you stifle dissent, blah, blah, blah. So he goes on and on. So yeah, banning someone for their opinions is a form of fascism. And he continues by saying, keep saying you're so morally superior while mocking the dead douchebag. Kirk would have happily debated you. Then why didn't he, you fucking liar? Kirk did not happily debate me. Kirk avoided me, and he went around to college campuses pretending and posing to be an actual debater, while he stood there and did applause lines for teenagers and new folks, and then poisoning the well with the crowd against him. I've already covered this, but the reply that I sent to this individual was, fascism applies to the government. You aren't owed a spot on my platform or my living room. I am morally superior to you and Kirk, and smarter too. Goodbye. I figure if you're just going to troll me, I'm just going to troll right back. Sorry, the moderators called you out. But here we go. Clyde's calling from Alabama. Clyde's pronouns are him, and says, I have an issue with a few positions of the host, for example, trans rights. Wow. Hey, Clyde, how are you?
Yes, sir. I'm doing good this evening. And Matt, I'm a long-time watcher of your videos, and I approve of a lot of things you say because I am an atheist, but I am also a conservative. And the issue
Why?
I have is that you keep going on about trans rights. The problem I have is what if trans rights step on the rights of others? What's your opinion on that?
What trans right steps on your rights, Clyde?
Well, me personally, I do not see a man dressed as a woman is a woman.
Clyde,
They're a man.
Clyde,
They got a penis.
Clyde,
They got a set
Clyde,
of balls.
Clyde,
So
Clyde,
they're
Clyde,
no.
Clyde,
Why you want to interrupt me
Clyde,
when I'm trying
Clyde,
to state my case?
I'm going to fucking interrupt you whenever I want because I asked you a question and you refused to answer it and decided to go down your pre-made script about testicles, which clearly you are lacking the testicles to engage in a conversation honestly. I'm going to ask you again. What trans right in any way steps on your rights?
Well, when somebody that's trans expects me to call them her,
I'm going to mute you again, Clyde. I don't know why this is so difficult for you. You're asking me what my view is when one person's rights steps on another person's rights. Let me make this easy. Lux, is there anything about trans rights that in any way requires Clyde to refer to anyone by any pronouns ever, preferred or not?
No,
Nope.
I don't think so.
Cool. So Clyde, what trans right
what
infringes I'm going to ask you the question again if you just fucking listen. What trans right in any way infringes on...
I'm not trying to interrupt you. It's just...
Okay, I'm going to mute you since you're incapable of shutting your fucking pie hole long enough to listen to the fucking question. The question is, what specific trans right violates your rights in what specific way? You dodged it, and then you went to pronouns. But there are no trans rights that require you to use anyone's preferred pronouns at all, ever. So once again, I'm going to ask the question, then I'm going to unmute you, and then you can answer. I would like to know what trans right you are opposed to because it specifically violates your rights.
Well, how about we go with my right of my daughter having to deal with a...
Okay. I specifically asked you, what trans right specifically violates your right? I swear, Clyde, I'm giving you every opportunity because you should be calling the Transatlantic Call-In Show. But now you're referencing your daughter. I didn't ask about your daughter. I asked you what trans right specifically violates your right. This is your absolute last chance to answer this question with me. So try and make it good. What trans right violates your right?
I would love to be able to listen to you if there wasn't a bunch of beeping in the background.
Okay, I'm going to mute you again because you're a whiny little bitch and you need to understand this very clearly. I specifically asked the question while you were muted entirely, and I unmuted you while nobody was speaking so that the beep cannot in any way impact your ability to understand. If you still fail to address the question, I'm going to assume that you are either too stupid to have this conversation, too dishonest to have this conversation, or a troll. So we're going to try again. When I take you off mute, don't whine about being put on mute. Don't whine about the beep. Just try your best to actually discuss the topic that you supposedly wanted to address, because you are squandering your opportunity to both be educated and improved because of your ignorance. So, what trans right specifically violates a specific right of yours? I'm now unmuting you.
None.
Thank you.
But
so
that is me.
No. There's no but. I'm going to mute you again. I really want this conversation to go well. So here's what's going to happen. You have just acknowledged that there are no trans rights that specifically violate your rights. The question you had asked me was, how do I deal with rights in conflict when trans rights come up against your rights? You've now just acknowledged that that scenario isn't real. And so nothing about my answer is relevant, but I'm going to answer it anyway. When the rights of two different individuals come in conflict, this is why we have courts. It is the only genuine purpose of courts on civil issues, because my right to swing my arms around ends at your body or very near your body. My right to do other things ends when I'm impacting other people's lives. And so if we're going to grant rights to people, we have to do it with the recognition that when those rights come in conflict, we have to follow the evidence and the science with the foundation of individual sovereignty and freedom to determine what the resolution should be on a case-by-case basis. But because you've already acknowledged there are no trans rights that specifically infringe on your rights, and because I've already answered that, I'm going to take you off mute. I want to get Lux in here because I'm not nearly as relevant to this. And I'd like for you to explain to Lux why you're opposed to trans rights that don't infringe on your rights.
Goodness gracious, there's a bunch of beeps. Well, this is the issue I have is,
Okay, I'm going to mute you again, Clyde. I already explained this to you. I don't need you to comment on the bunch of beeps. I don't need you to comment on anything other than the subject at hand. Every single time you do this, you are distracting us from having a good conversation because you have to be treated like a little child who is incapable of having this discussion. Once again, I'm going to take you off mute. I would like for you to explain to Lux why you're opposed to trans rights that do not infringe on your own.
well, I guess I'm not. But the issue
Cool.
I have as a veteran is that it's infringing on other people's rights, like my daughter,
No,
who should be
Clyde.
able to go to the bathroom without a male in.
Okay. Clyde, I'm also a veteran. Your veteran
We should do that on
position
TACIS
is
more.
irrelevant. What's that?
Oh, we should do that on TACIS more often. Just like, it was just like the perfect cut on that was hilarious. I loved that.
I'm also a veteran. But you're saying that trans rights impose on your daughter's right to go to the bathroom without a male there. So let me ask you this, and then I will shut up because Lux doesn't need my help. I'm just obnoxious and really curious.
No, actually, you're a great debater.
Yes, thank you. From where does your daughter get the right to determine who is or isn't allowed in a public bathroom that they happen to share?
Well, because a male with a penis shouldn't be in the same bathroom as a male with a vagina.
I'm sorry, Clyde. I'm going to back out of this now and let Lux school you because you're genuinely too ridiculous for me to spend time on. I asked you, from where does your daughter get the right to determine who is allowed to share a bathroom with them? And your answer was about a male with a penis and a male with a vagina being different. That has nothing to do with rights. It has nothing to do with the guarantee of rights. It has nothing to do with your daughter's rights. It has nothing to do with anybody's rights. What it has to do with is your ignorance and your bigotry, which I think we can actually solve, because I would hope that you would like to be better and stop trying to shit on other people's rights because of a fictional scenario where you imagine your daughter being in danger because of trans rights. Because I'll tell you this, and then I'm going to stop. There is nothing at all about eliminating trans rights that makes your cis daughter safer anywhere. As a matter of fact, eliminating trans rights makes your cis daughter more at risk across the board. And the only penis carrying individuals that are going to be a remote threat are the ones that don't give a fuck about rights or bathroom laws or anything else, but are actually going into with the intent of doing harm, which is not what fucking trans people are doing. So I'm gonna take a breath.
Do.
Clyde, you're back on with
All right,
Lux,
who's
and
next?
I'm playing chess.
Okay. So explain to me
Hi, Clyde.
how a male with a penis has the objective right to go into a bathroom with a prepubescent female. It's not
A what
right.
female?
Period.
A what female?
Whether you're Republican,
Prepubescent,
left,
I think, is
or
what you
what,
said.
you do not put males in a female bathroom. Period.
What did we do for so this country was founded in 1776. There wasn't a single law stating, so there's never been a law. Like there's generally we have this like social thing where if the sign says women, women go in
This
there,
has
and if men
nothing
go
to do
in.
with law.
No,
This
no, no.
has-
Shut up for a
this-
second.
this
Can you
has
shut up for a
something to do
second?
with
I have
moral
not had
rights.
an opportunity to say
Moral
anything,
rights.
I
Clyde.
don't give a shit
Give me a
about your
second.
opinion about moral
Males
rights.
in the
You are,
bathroom with a female.
you,
Okay, you're getting muted
You-
again because
yeah,
I wanted
you're
to say
saying
something.
you're opposed to trans rights. I don't give a shit if you think it's moral or not.
I'm trying to ask a question and come to a sense of clarity and understanding. I know that it's difficult to have a conversation with me after having a conversation with Matt, but trust me, I'm trying to like have a back and forth, and I really struggle with being interrupted. So I'm going to bring you back in. I'm going to give plenty of time for the beep so that you're back in.
There we go.
Okay, hands
over.
are off. Okay, you're back. Okay, thank you, Clyde. So there are so many different directions we could go with this, right? There's a million different directions we
Right.
can go with this. We were talking about your daughter in the bathrooms. So when I was asking, I was leading up to a
Yes.
question. From 1776 until 2016, there has never been a law that says you're not allowed to go into such and such bathroom. So how did we exist as a society and function as a society prior to 2016? What would have happened to your daughter prior to 2016 before all of the saving the children laws started to pass? The lawless Wild West country we used to live in. What are you afraid of?
Moral turpitude.
Okay, so you have a moral problem and not a problem with actual physical harm?
Well, the physical harm is definitely part of it, but I just believe if you are born a male, you're a male. If you're born a female, you're a female. Now, like I said, I've had friends that are gay, friends that are trans. I have no
shut the
issue
fuck
with
up.
them because, like I said, I am a atheist. I don't believe in a God. I am a conservative.
But you
So
do
I do
subscribe to a
have-
fundamentally
Yeah,
Christian
South Alabama
worldview
bullshit.
on this subject. You subscribe to a colonialist Christian worldview on this topic, a brand new ideology that was invented like 120 years ago, realistically.
So your
That's not right. 1,200 years, let's
ideology
say.
is not brand new.
So trans people have existed for all of recorded history. We have records going back like thousands of years of people
Okay.
existing as transgender individuals within society, modifying their bodies. The idea that being trans is like a bad thing, that's brand new. And the reason why you think that trans is brand new is because the Nazis burned all of the research about trans people during World War II.
I don't think trans is brand new. I don't think it's bad. My problem is a man with a penis shouldn't be in the bathroom with
Okay, that has nothing to do with trans people. If you are opposed to men in those spaces, that has nothing to do with trans people. Trans people are not like committing 80% of violent crime. Trans people are overwhelmingly more likely to be sexually assaulted than they are to sexually assault someone else. So what is the problem?
I'm going to unmute you again, Clyde.
Oh, I thought that he was actually letting me speak.
No. I'm sorry. I got tired of hearing man with a penis when what it means is perhaps, possibly woman with a penis. But here's the thing, Clyde, in the entire time I've gone into bathrooms, public bathrooms, the only time I've ever seen another penis is when we were at the baseball game and there were the big long trough things. And then you could maybe see around. But generally speaking, here, Clyde, have you ever taken your daughter into the men's room with you?
No.
In your entire life, you've never taken your daughter into a men's room to pee?
No, sir. I let my wife take her to the females' restroom.
Oh,
You never go anywhere with your
I'm
child?
glad you got a trad wife, but do you think it's wrong for a father to take his daughter into the men's room?
If she's under a certain age, yes.
I'm sorry, you just
What?
said that
What? Whoa,
prepubescent
whoa, whoa,
girls
whoa,
should
wait
not
a
be in
minute.
it.
Wait a minute.
Shut your mouth
Most
while I'm
men
talking,
will
you
knock on the
fucking
door and
bigot.
make sure there's not a
Shut your
female still
fucking
in there.
mouth. Shut your fucking mouth, you bigot, while I'm talking.
No, you shut your fucking mouth because you are trying to trivialate the issue.
I'm trying to what the issue?
Trivialate.
Trivialate? What's trivialate?
That means muddying the waters like you always
Does it?
do when it comes to these particular ideals. Like I said,
Trivialate.
I have watched you for years, and I am a backer of your atheist positions. But like Arn Raw told me, is that I don't exist because I am a Republican. I'm
going to mute you, Clyde, because trivialate isn't a word, you dumb fuck, backwards ass bigot. But you're the one that said that prepubescent girls shouldn't be in the room with men with penises. And then now you're saying that if they're under a certain age, it's okay. So it's not the penis that you have a problem with. It's the trans people that you have a problem with. And your fear of the trans people is because you are too stupid to not look beyond the lies and misinformation. There are literally trans people here willing to talk to you. But you are such a backwards bigot that you can't even fucking listen to people telling you your daughter and nobody else's daughter is any more safe denying trans rights. They are actually more at risk, period. All of the data show that. If you can't even get the pronouns right, if you can't even say you're worried about a woman with a penis, I'm not going to let you speak. Tell us what your concern is. Why is it that it's okay for a young girl to be in the men's room with her father, who probably has a penis, and other people who probably have penises, but it's not okay for someone who might have a penis, which, by the way, you don't get to inspect anybody's fucking genitals before they go in the bathroom, you dumbass. What mechanism are you going to use to make sure that nobody with a penis goes into the bathroom that you don't want them to go into? I'd love to hear that. What is your mechanism, Clyde, for verifying whether or not there's a penis entering the bathroom with you?
obvious observation.
What was that?
Obvious observation.
I'm sorry.
You can always tell.
You can tell when somebody's got a penis.
Yeah, because I was trained that way.
Out of curiosity, do you think I have a penis?
No. Let me finish.
No, you don't get to finish. No, you don't get to finish. We're just fucking clowning with you now, you dumbass. How are you trained to identify who has a penis? Does Lux have a penis? Do I have a penis? How can you tell? There's two of us here. There may be 0 penises, 1 penis, or 2 penis. How many penises are owned by the people that you're talking to, and how did you tell?
Schrodinger's penis.
Observation.
Okay, observation is not an explanation, dipshit. Tell me how you tell who has a penis and who doesn't.
Well, that's odd because 99% of the police departments in this world go by observation.
Yeah, no, that's not how you tell someone's gender, you dumb motherfucker. Observation. Are you suggesting, here, let me get this. When you say observation, Clyde, are you saying you get to look at somebody's genitals? Is that what you're observing?
No.
Okay, then how do you tell if somebody has genitals that you don't like?
Because I am trained in body language.
You're so full of shit, Clyde. You cannot be trained. You are completely full of shit. It is impossible to train you to tell whether or not somebody has a penis. And I know that because you clearly have a micro penis that nobody could fucking observe no matter what. How
Actually,
you like them
it's 8
apples?
inches, but okay.
It's 8 inches? Ooh, come choke me,
The fact that
daddy.
you felt the need to correct him.
Well, I mean, he went down that road.
Yeah, and you
I'm
couldn't let
sorry,
it stand.
but I'm actually trained in observation as well, and you're full of shit. You don't have an 8-inch penis. Send me a picture.
You
Rare
probably love
solicited
that,
dick
but no, I don't think so. I don't send porno
I'm sorry.
over the internet.
Why don't you want to show me your penis, Clyde? You want other people to show you theirs?
No, I never said that. See, you're putting words into my mouth.
I'm gonna put something else in your mouth here in just a minute, and it's a little bit bigger than 8 inches because it's going to be my foot. You're so full of shit, Clyde. It's absolutely hilarious. I don't care that you're an atheist. Being an atheist doesn't impress me. There's plenty of stupid, fucking backwards atheists just like you. There are plenty of atheist conservatives just like you, and they're all trash when it comes to human rights and morality. When it comes to, it's because you care more about your pocketbook than you do about people. And it's because you're monumentally ignorant and you think that you have been trained to identify a penis. I'm going to bet you $10,000 that I can show you pictures of 50 people and you will not be able to correctly tell with greater than 90% accuracy which of them have penises. Would you like to take that bet, Clyde?
See, that's where your fallacy shows, because pictures don't show it.
I'm sorry. You don't get to accuse me of a fallacy, you backwards fuck. There was no fallacy there. I asked if you'd be willing to take that bet. If there's more to it than just looking at a picture, that's fine. We can work that out. But I didn't commit a fallacy. I asked you if you'd like to make a bet. So the answer is, are you going to now retract your accusation that I committed a fallacy?
Wait a minute. It beats right in front of your...
Are you going to retract your accusation that I committed a fallacy?
No.
Then what fallacy did I commit, smartass?
Because you do not observe.
I'm sorry. Because you do not observe is not the name. I'm sorry, dumbass. I'm sorry, dumbass. But because you do not observe is not the name of a fallacy.
How do you think we knew going to...
I'm going to try this one more time. This is so much fun, Clyde. You have completely made my night. And I feel like I have to apologize to Lux because I'm just fucking loving this. Clyde,
you're having fun.
When I unmute you, I would like for you to tell me what fallacy I committed.
And I told you... Never mind.
What fallacy? No, sir.
Well,
there's not a never mind.
With...
Okay, I'm going to fucking mute you again. Listen very carefully. Right now, you are fucking muted. Nobody can hear you. So just shut up. Nobody can hear you. You accused me of committing a fallacy. I'm saying I did not commit a fallacy. I would like for you to name the fallacy that I committed when I unmute you. And your failure to do so will absolutely get you muted again. Here we go. What fallacy did I commit?
Observation.
Observation is not a fallacy, Clyde.
Observation is the truth.
I asked you, what question did I ask you, Clyde?
Whether or not you posed a fallacy.
No, I asked you to name the fallacy that you're accusing me of.
Well, I don't know your brain.
You also don't know what any fallacies
I don't know
are.
how you think.
I thought you were really good at observation. If gender's in the brain and you're good at observation, you should be able to observe that and not have to worry so much about penises. I'm so sorry that you are absolutely terrified of penises. I mean, you should probably seek help. And that's a good time to talk about our non-sponsor, because I don't have anything good or bad to say about BetterHelp, and we're not sponsored by BetterHelp, but we do, in fact, work with the Secular Therapy Project. And so as an atheist, perhaps you could reach out to the seculartherapy.org and find yourself a therapist who will get you to the point where you realize that you don't have to tell everybody you have an 8-inch penis that you refuse to show, while pretending that you can identify everybody else and tell whether or not they have a penis. But also at the end of the day, even if you had the miracle observation skills of being able to 100% identify who has a penis and who doesn't have a penis, that still gets you nowhere near demonstrating why there's a problem with trans rights. Because trans rights, by the way, aren't about penises. And you could line up 100 trans people and all, some, or none of them might have penises. So if you would come out from the backwoods and jump into the modern world and stop pretending that you can tell who has a penis, my question to you is this: do you have a right to know, ask, or inspect the genitals of any other person on the planet? Yes or no?
Do I have a right to know? Well,
Correct.
that's debatable. Do I have a right to?
Well, it's actually not debatable. If you have a right to actually ask, seek, or know, and I mean ask with an expectation of getting it, to know someone's genitals, you'd need to tell me where that right comes from. So from where do you get the right to know what somebody else's genitals are?
Because of the right of me protecting my children. Duh.
Protecting your children does not give you the right to know what my genitals are.
Really?
Yes, really.
Okay. How's that?
I'm
I
sorry.
think you should prove the situation
ahead,
in which
Bob.
it's
No,
necessary.
no.
Or
Let him finish. Please let him finish.
Wow. So Clyde,
Go ahead.
in order
You're
to
so
say,
fucking rude.
in order to say, she was trying to, or they were trying, he was trying to save you. In order to say, fuck, in order to say you have a right to something, you have to demonstrate what document, what body provides you with that right. You are asserting a right that is not guaranteed in the Constitution of the United States. So what are you appealing to declare this right?
I never said anything about right. I said
Wow.
something about
Clyde, you're such a fucking liar. Now you've crossed over into the lying. This was so fun. I mean, it was so fun when you were just an ignorant bigot, but now you're a liar too. Because I specifically asked you if you had a right to know anybody else's genitals and what gives you that right. And you said, protecting your children gives you that right. And I said, no, it doesn't. See, protecting your children doesn't give you any rights. Your desire to protect your children doesn't give you any rights. Even being correct about wanting to protect your children doesn't give you any rights. Your rights are granted by the people of the United States of America. And there is no granted right for you to know somebody else's genitalia. You have no right or expectation to know anything about anybody else's genitalia, period. If I'm wrong, prove me wrong.
But yet the elections show different.
Okay, Clyde, I'm done with you. I'm going to let Lux try to save you one last time because you are an epic nuclear level of stupid. You say the election shows different. Elections don't guarantee you rights either, you backward dumbass. The fact that the maggots won does not give you the right to know somebody else's genitalia, you stupid fuck. I'm now done with Clyde.
Give me the right to say it's wrong.
So,
Oh.
Clyde, when we're having a conversation about like how do we deal with trans people in society, the conversation is naturally going to come back to policy, which means like laws and rights and that kind of stuff. So, like earlier, I was trying to explain that until 2016 in the history of this country, there has never been a law that says a man can't just walk into the woman's bathroom and use the restroom. There has never been a law until 2016. So, and you said like you don't care about
oddly
laws.
enough, we never thought we needed one.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is that for literally my entire life, probably both of our lifetimes combined, more than that even, all three of our lifetimes combined, trans people have in America been using the bathroom that they want to use, and there is not an epidemic of sexual crimes. There's not an epidemic of men entering women's
And where's
spaces
your proof?
pretending to be trans women. What do you mean? Like the lack of crime statistics is the proof? Like,
No,
we would know.
Where's
We
your
would know
proof
because
that
we study
trans
crime
women have
statistics.
been walking into women's bathrooms unabated? Where's your proof?
Because I know a lot of
Because
transgender
the
people.
trans women that I know will walk into a men's bathroom.
Maybe now because y'all are so
explain
violent.
that to me why the friends that I have a different view than yours. I'll tell you why. Because they're Republican, they're not Democrat. Because
You're not going to tell me anything. So here's the thing. Yes, right now, there is a culture of fear and animosity. So cisgender people are clued in now to what trans people look like. When before, even 15 years ago, people didn't know, they didn't look, they didn't care. So if a tall woman with broad shoulders walks into the women's restroom 20 years ago, nobody cares. She just is in there touching up her makeup and washing her hands and leaving. So the fact of the lived experience of like hundreds and thousands of trans people in this country for many years prior to this current level of hatred and animosity, which, by the way, is harming cisgender women more than it is harming transgender women. And that is something that I would like to discuss when I unmute you. We were talking about your daughter's safety. Since these laws have started to pass restricting trans people's access to bathrooms, the people who are being hurt by that are cisgender women who are too tall, whose hair is too short, or who are not wearing the kind of clothing that people expect women to wear. So how are you going to keep your daughter safe from being accused of being trans and being harmed, arrested, accosted, assaulted, yelled at, kicked out of a business because somebody suspects she might be trans?
well, that is nationwide homophobia, and I do not share that view. But what
Yes,
I
you
do
do.
share
You know,
is
yeah,
the
you do.
safety of my
You
daughter.
share the idea that you should be able to look at someone and ascertain whether it's appropriate for them to be in a specific bathroom. That's what's happening. There's two situations
yeah,
that have
'cause I'm
happened
trained
at a
to do it.
Walmart. Hold on. Okay, just give me a second. 2 times in this country, there was once where it was a Walmart employee who was kicked out of, she was actually fired because a customer complained about her being in the bathroom. Even though she was not transgender, she still lost her job. There was another situation where a sort of masculine, lesbian, cisgender black woman was changing her tampon in the female restroom, and male cops came in to accost and potentially arrest her. So do you think you get to be posted outside every single bathroom? Like, are you going to be the vigilante out there? Do you think that your daughter should be subjected to that as she goes into a bathroom? Who do you trust to double check that your daughter is using the correct bathroom? Because that's what we get into the situation is like, there's a problem of enforcement that you all are not interested in solving.
The problem of enforcement. Okay, well, I'll go this route. As a father, I watch where my daughter goes. I watch the people that go in after her. If I see something out of the ordinary, which most of the time I do, I go in and I pull my daughter out. How is that wrong?
It is wrong.
Is that
Okay, so are you telling
transphobic?
me, so what you're saying is there is a situation in which it is appropriate for a full-ass man with a penis to enter the women's restroom?
Yes.
Okay, so you are just transphobic.
Yes.
Oh, I am. Even though I have
Yes.
friends that are okay.
No,
You
you don't.
don't.
You don't have
You
any
don't.
friends. You're a liar. You're a liar. You don't
You
have
don't have
trans
trans
friends.
Agree with
friends.
the argument. I'll go for that.
You
But
don't have
my
trans
issue
friends. You're a
is,
liar.
as a
You're a
father,
liar.
I have the right
You're a
to
liar.
stand by the door and watch who goes
No, you don't.
in. If I
No, you don't.
So you
No, you
think
don't. You don't
you
have the
think
right
you
to
have the
be
right
on the property. You don't even have a right
Yeah,
to be
that's true.
on the property. Your daughter could be in the bathroom, in a public bathroom, and they can kick you out of the building because you're an individual person. This is why you're a conservative, because you're too stupid to understand basic rights and liberties and how they're in conflict. This is why. You don't have the rights you think you do. And the fact that you sit out there with your smug, I'm an expert in observing, and if I see anything unusual when my daughter goes in the bathroom, I'm going to march in there and drag her out. Your ass needs to be fucking arrested. You hate-mongering piece of garbage. Sorry, I had to jump back in.
I'm
Welcome back.
hateful.
Yes.
How am I
Yeah.
hateful?
This is a hateful ideology that you have bought into, where you somehow think
No,
that trans
no,
people.
no. I
No.
wanna
Give me a
protect
second.
my
Hold on.
daughter. That's it.
If you think, hold on. Actually, I want to come back to the example that Matt brought up earlier. The situation where your daughter is too young to go in the women's restroom by herself. And is it okay for her to go in the restroom? Do you go make all the men clear out? Or could your daughter be in the stall while a man is at the urinal? Do you think that that is a safe situation?
No.
Okay. Interesting.
That's
So that's the opposite of what you said earlier.
In retrospect,
Because
let me explain it this
earlier
way.
you started to say to Matt,
No,
I think
no,
what you started to say
let me
before he
explain
muted you
what-
was that, hold on, holy fucking shit. Earlier, when Matt was asking you this, you started to say, no, it's not a bad thing for my daughter to go in the men's restroom because most men, and then you got cut off. But what you were about to say was because most men are trustworthy and most men are not predators, just like most trans
No,
people.
that is not what I said. What
Well,
I
you got
said
cut
was,
off,
is if
so you
I
couldn't
take my
finish your
daughter
statement,
in
but we all
to
know what you were
change,
going to say.
say, her diaper, I'm there. So there's no issue. The problem I have is if now that my daughter is 10 years old, walks into a bathroom by herself, because obviously I shouldn't go, that there's a man in there, and I see somebody that walks in with particular tails. We'll leave it at that.
No.
Then
Let's not leave
shouldn't
it at
be
that.
my right?
No. Let's not leave it at that. This is the most important thing. No, you still don't necessarily have the right to do anything about it. But I want to know what the particular tells are. Clyde, what are the particular tells that you don't want to tell us about?
Well, let's see, the way they walk, the way they manoram, eyes, obviously Adam's apple. That's one of the biggest tells, but that's not always
Clyde,
there because it can be
basically what you're
surgically
saying
removed.
is that you
But
are going to take it upon yourself to be the guy who calls the cops on a woman who's trying to change her tampon.
See, here's the thing, Clyde, and no, you don't get to speak anymore. Even if you see someone going in that you think has an Adam's apple, and oh, you ran away, Clyde.
Oh, that's too bad. I was going to tell him I hate him and go fuck himself. I wanted to make sure to get that in. Oh, I hope you stop breathing voluntarily.
Here's the thing, Clyde. If you see someone that you suspect is a man going into the women's restroom, it's none of your fucking business because you're probably wrong and it doesn't fucking matter. You are not the arbiter of who is who and who gets to go where, you self-important Republican prick. I don't care if you're an atheist. You are supporting Christian nationalism. You are supporting transphobia. You are supporting homophobic, transphobic, bigoted ideas. And you're trying to use your daughter as a prop to excuse your fucking ignorance and hatred. I hope your daughter finds safety away from you. And I hope that your daughter is not actually trans.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because if it turns out she's got a hateful idiot like you who thinks he can go marching into bathrooms because he thinks he saw an Adam's apple or somebody didn't walk right, I hope that nobody like you mistakes your daughter for a man to go into a bathroom to beat the fuck out of her. You absolutely backward, ignorant, boring, stupid motherfucker. You make up rights left and right that don't exist, and you make up words that don't exist. You are not even a tenth as smart as you fucking think you are. And you can't tell. But even if you could 100% tell that the person who walked into the bathroom after your daughter is a trans woman, you have no reason to think they're a risk. You have bought into fear-mongering fucking crap. You have allowed your reliance on the right-wing Republican conservative gaslighting foundation of fascists to feed you and fill your head with fearful, ignorant bigotry, taking a tiny percent of the population and turning them into a boogeyman for you to hate so much that you will vote against your own self-interest, tank the economy, tank everybody's rights, deport everybody, fund a fucking genocide in Gaza, all because you're afraid that somebody with a penis might get too close to somebody else who you like. Well, fuck off, you bigot. Okay. We got callers on other stuff real quick. This will probably go easier and quicker. Oh, yeah, I forgot to say that fuck off. Lux hates you. There you go.
Yeah.
But Connor's calling from Texas. Connor's also an atheist and wants to discuss the genealogy of Jesus. So this will be pretty quick and easy. Connor, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Just wondering how I'm supposed to beat the intelligent bar that was just laid before me by Mr. Clyde.
It's going to be tough.
Challenge.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate y'all taking my call. I actually wanted to just discuss a specific spot that actually was making my Christian friend, also debate opponent, question things as well.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, can you hear me okay? I am on speakerphone. I may take myself off of it.
Yeah, you cut out, I think, in mid-sentence, or else I wasn't paying attention.
I got
By the way, I'm sorry
about that. I was on speakerphone. But I was discussing the genealogy of Jesus because my Christian friend claimed that Jesus was prophesied as the Messiah in the Old Testament, being within like the line of David. And so I was questioning him about the genealogy, and he's like, I usually gloss over that spot. And I'm like, well, let's look at it. And Matthew 1:1 starts off the genealogy of like Joseph's side. And I asked him, why does that matter? Because apparently it's the virgin birth. And why does Joseph's genealogy matter? He's like, okay, well, they talk about Mary's genealogy in Luke 3:23. So I go over and look at it, and it says nothing about Mary. And he also did not understand why.
Yeah, so first of all, I'll give you the short answer, and that is there's no reason to think any of this is remotely accurate. I'm not a mythicist. I'm okay with the notion that maybe there was some physical Jesus somewhere, whatever else. There's no reason to believe, though, that the Bible describes anything about him particularly accurately, let alone his genealogy. And since Judaism, your Jewishness, is traced through the mother and not through the father, it's silly for the Matthew genealogy to start with Joseph, because you're correct, he would be irrelevant to that. But also the genealogies don't match up between those two reports. You could just, I mean, I'm sure there's probably a Wikipedia article comparing the genealogy accounts of Jesus, but let's assume for a second that there was one genealogy account, and we got good reason to believe that it was an absolute virtual certainty that there's a direct line from David to Jesus. What does that prove?
Right. Let's see here. It would, what's it called? I guess what they try to argue is that it would prove that that, hey, it was prophesized and that it is correct, just like they try to rationalize that the crucifixion was prophesized because it says the word pierced hands and feet in Psalms 22, 16, or 17.
I'm sorry.
So,
I was talking about the genealogy. Even if there was a confirmable, correct genealogy, what does that prove?
it doesn't prove too much.
Nothing. It doesn't prove that Jesus was divine. It doesn't prove that Jesus was the one prophesied. It doesn't even prove that anybody was prophesied. It doesn't prove that Jesus rose from the dead. It doesn't prove that he was crucified. It doesn't prove that any of the words attributed to him are actually correct. It proves absolutely nothing. And since we don't even have that knockout genealogy, that genealogy is even more irrelevant because all it is words.
Thank you, because I've been attacked over that. And they what's it called? Quick question: have y'all heard of VR chat? It is this is relevant to what I'm about to say.
I have heard of it.
VR chat is like basically it's a virtual world where people go, like, you know, with like the VR headsets, all that jazz. You can do it on computers, but
Yes.
there is a church place where I have tried to have these conversations and just to you know, gain more knowledge and understanding as well, and try to explain my side of things. And I've been attacked with the genealogy of Jesus, saying that it's infallible and that if it was prophesied by David and that
Okay.
it is so
This is-
and so. You know the spiel.
It's all silly. So their claim of
Correct.
infallibility, they can't demonstrate it's infallible. All they can do is claim it's infallible. But even if you grant them that the genealogy is infallible, that doesn't prove a thing. If the genealogy is infallible,
are
it just,
right.
just proves that Jesus's father or adopted father or stepfather or whatever, however you want to look at it, was from the line of David. But you know what? So was Joseph, and so was everybody else in that line. So why aren't they?
Oh, yes.
I mean, they're all descendants of David in that line, but the genealogies don't match, and none of it matters. And what's embarrassing is that this is the best they can do. They have nothing to show that he even existed, even though I'm fine with that notion. They have nothing to show that he was divine. And so they've got to go, well, look, here's his 23andMe report. They don't have that. They don't have any DNA. They don't have any genetics. So they've got to go with what was reported to have been Mary's husband's genealogy. And then when the one in Luke doesn't line up with it, they try to claim that that's the genealogy of Mary, and that's why they don't match up, even though there are things that do match up and things that don't match up. It's bizarre. Now, maybe Mary and Joseph were cousins. I think that's a permissible relationship.
They try to say that Joseph was the son-in-law of Heli, the Heli. And that's why they
the
try
Bible's
to
a
rationalize
little
that
unclear. I was going with cousins, but anyway, that's about it, Connor.
Oh man. And also, what's it called? I apologize for misspelling the word atheist when you were on with Jesse Jerdak. That was my comment, asking about source material from the atheist perspective, the Connor McLean one. Connor McLeod, the McLean McLeod.
I Blossom. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Oh, I thought he wasn't going to say anything, so I clicked the button. We got one more call we're going to get to, and then it's super chats. All the super chats over $10 we're going to read. I'm going to do the announcement thing kind of one last time, and that is today's episode of the Hang Up has me in luck. Next week, Promise will be on with me. Tomorrow, if you have applied, if you'd like to call back tomorrow, maybe Ben and Josie on the Transatlantic Call-In Show will be able to explain to you in more detail about how you're an ignorant, hateful, transphobic bigot, but maybe in a gentler, kinder way. So, that's an opportunity for you there at 2. Because honestly, while we hate what you think and the excuses you make for it, I probably don't hate you, and I definitely don't hate your daughter in much the way that I thought I pitied Charlie Kirk's daughters because their father said that if they were raped at 10 and got pregnant, he would force them to carry to term. Now, maybe Clyde's a little better than that with his 10-year-old, but he's certainly willing to go out and do harm and strut his 8-inch prick around in the name of protecting the children from fictional harm. So congratulations, Clyde. You have managed to, like, I'm not even on the show chat. I've maintained pretty good composure, except for you, you ignorant, backwards, bigoted piece of crap. Anyway, there are other shows on the network. I just want to remind people about Transatlantic Call-In Show. We're going to go through super chats very quickly. But first, we have Ethan calling. Ethan's an atheist con from Utah with a question that I already hate. But go ahead, Ethan. My apologies in advance.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you don't like to cut the question.
On my personal, so you're going to ask about qualia and the hard problem of consciousness. And
yeah.
I just did a video on my personal channel not too long ago addressing this. I think qualia is bullshit.
Oh, okay.
But go ahead and ask your question. I just want to make it clear.
Well, I just feel like right now, like when I talk to other atheists and I bring up like the hard problem, things like that, I seem to be in disagreement with a lot of people. In that I believe that they're in something akin to property dualism, which is not necessarily substance dualism. But I just feel like a lot of people sort of clash over that idea.
You haven't got to the part where I can address anything yet.
Yeah, so I was wondering, is it reasonable for me to believe, or at least somewhat justified to believe, to have that position, or is it just something I should abandon, or what? Because I don't know what to do in this particular subject.
With property dualism?
Yes.
Okay. So, what is the property dualism of this watch that I'm holding? It has all of its physical characteristics, but you're claiming there's also a mental aspect that is a property of the watch itself?
Well, like you can say so I'm not really well versed in everything here, so give me a minute to compose my thoughts. Well, like it would be like you can still agree that like the mind is fundamentally matter and atoms and whatnot, but you can then say there is something that emerges from that which cannot be irreducibly reduced to those fundamental stuff. Does that make any sense?
Okay. So can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see it right now. You're holding a watch in your hand, right?
Cool. This is my watch. It is a physical device, a mechanical device. It's one of my favorite. I have two G-Shocks. This is my favorite of the two. And what it does is it keeps track of time and displays the current time, assuming I've got it correctly linked up to my phone.
Right.
What is the non-material aspect of this? Do you think this watch contains a property that is time?
I don't think it contains time within it, no.
Okay. What non-physical property does this watch have?
I don't think it does. I think that's not quite
Okay.
what I was
That's fine.
trying to say.
Hang on. I'm leading to something. What non-physical property does my brain have?
Um, um,
So you should probably go off and think about it, Ethan, and I'll help you out here, because this is my problem with any form of kind of substance dualism, property dualism, anything like that, is they only want to focus on the brain and then say that the mind is an emergent property that is non-physical, when, as far as I can tell, the mind is just what the brain does. And it's no different from looking at this watch and saying, hey, it's 8:15, 8:16 and 40 seconds right now. And so when somebody says, your brain does these things, but whatever it's doing gives it a property that is non-physical, I don't see the justification for that. I don't see the mind as a property, a non-physical property of the brain. I see us labeling what the brain does as mind. Do we have some reason to think it's not that?
I guess what I was thinking was, like, one minute, give me a moment.
Sure.
Um,
While you're thinking, Lux, you and I have never talked about this, I don't think. How conversant are you with qualia and property dualism?
It might be something that I'm more familiar with in concept than in name. I mean, like, if we're talking about the emergent property of consciousness, I can have a fluid conversation about that because I find that topic really interesting. But yeah.
See, and we might get there. I'm just trying to figure out, because I'm fine with talking about the brain and emergent properties and the mind, but I don't necessarily buy this notion that there's dualism. But I also didn't want to sit here and be digging in on a topic that I am mildly annoyed by, when Lux could be an expert and I just didn't know it. Like Lux, oh no, I did my undergraduate degree in qualia,
Well, this
Not
is
this
not
time.
the same as substance dualism, which argues there's two different things. This is just, it's monist, it's a monist idea, just like physicalism. It's just adding on that what results in subjective experience is not easily or is not reducible to the more primitive or fundamental processes going on in your brain.
Okay, I understand that there's a distinction between substance dualism and property dualism, in that substance dualism is the notion that the mind is like a soul, separate from the physical. But property dualism doesn't have a soul, but is making a claim that there's a non-physical set of properties. What is distinct about property dualism from just saying these are metaphorical abstractions of what the mind, what the brain does?
Sorry, can you repeat that one last time?
Sure. Maybe. What is it about property dualism that makes it distinct from merely labeling a metaphor or about an abstraction of what the brain does? Like, the brain does some work, and we're going to view it as a metaphor, as if it's something else. But if it's not an actual separate substance, what do you get out of property dualism that adds anything more than saying, ooh, the mind is a description of what the brain does?
Well, give me a moment to think on that. So you're basically asking what's the point of bringing this up when it's better explained or explained just as well as a metaphor, right?
Well, I'm just wondering what gets added, because I think you and I would agree that there's a brain, right?
Right, yeah.
And would we agree that the mind is a function of the brain?
Yes, but yeah, you can say that. It depends on to extent, but yes.
Okay. So what value is there in saying that the mind has a property separate from the physical?
So one moment. So you're asking why I think it's separate, right?
Well, you're calling in to advocate for property dualism. By property dualism, you're saying that, well, here, what do you mean by property dualism? Because I've given you my understanding and it doesn't seem to have clarified anything. So when you say that you're advocating for property dualism, describe what you're talking about and what the justification is.
Right. So both of us agree that we have a brain. Both agree that that everything, as far as we know, is solely material. There's nothing immaterial, right?
Well, as far as we know, yes. I'm not saying that it necessarily is, but yes.
Yeah, as far as we know right now. Okay. Well, I guess what I'm trying to get at is maybe I'm not as well informed as I thought I was on this, but from my understanding, it's that property dualism is saying that yes, everything can ultimately come from that, but there comes a point where the way it behaves or the way it interacts with the world around itself and whatnot are not necessarily in congruence with the more basic or fundamental composite parts that make up the subjective experience.
I feel like something that might help you, Ethan, on this topic is to go learn about electromagnetism, because our brains run on electricity and our bodies run on electricity, and literally all cohesive matter is comprised of things that are held together with electrical charges. And when you really fully, truly, deeply grasp that electricity and magnetism are the same thing and that they can create one another, it might be easier to accept that the brain and the things that it does are answerable to the fact that our brains function with electricity.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to read up on it, more on electromagnetism. Yeah.
Yeah, because the brain, like what we have in the brain is like a bunch of electrical signals and chemicals, right? So functionally, like if you start really learning about neurobiology, I think it becomes quite clear, like neurobiology as well as electromagnetism, it becomes quite clear that everything that the human experience is answerable to the meat that we have charging our like electrical circuits and like keeping us animated. And it also kind of helps obviate the fact that like all animals who possess brains and like maybe even ones who have decentralized nervous systems can have complex experiences that are difficult to quantify. And we experience things like transcendent emotional connection and overwhelm. We experience profound grief. We can do complex mathematics and physics. And all of those things are answerable to electricity. the meat brain that we have and the social development of humans as a species. Really, you could go
Have
with
you ever
multiple
seen-
different angles of study to understand it better.
Have you ever seen or watched or done it yourself, dropped like an Alka-Seltzer tablet into water?
Yeah, or you have a rocket and you like put alcohol or something fizzy and the rocket goes up in the air.
Or we could just stick with the Alka-Seltzer tablet and water.
Yeah.
The point is, water is often described as having an emergent property of wetness because a single molecule, H2O, is water, but that doesn't have the property wet. And so we describe wetness as this almost ineffable, slick, lowered friction. It's the interaction between water molecules and other water molecules and water molecules and other surfaces. And there's a surface tension to it and everything else. But take an Alka-Seltzer tablet, which is this mix of sodium bicarbonate and citric acid. And that tablet is not fizzy. And the water is not fizzy. And when you put them together, fizzy happens. But yet everything about the fizzy is in fact contained within the physical substance of the water and the sodium bicarbonate and citric acid. All of that is there. It is a chemical reaction. And it would be a mistake for us to look at that chemical reaction, in my view, and say, you know what? I know the physical features of this Alka-Seltzer tablet, and I know the physical features of this water. And when we combine them, some new property exists. That is that new property a function of the Alka-Seltzer? Is that new property a function of the water? Or is it an emergent phenomenon that we are labeling so that we can better describe what's happening rather than what is? I don't find any valuable difference between substance dualism and property dualism. And I was playing along mostly to see if you had a different take on property dualism than I looked at before, because I don't see a difference and I don't see any value. And at the end of the day, though, if we can all agree that we have a mind, whether it is what the brain does or appears to be what the brain does, or even if it's a soul or some other property, none of that seems to make any difference to me. What matters is that we have a mind and we don't yet fully understand it. That doesn't make it, that doesn't have, it serves as a justification for property or substance dualism.
Okay. All right.
Hopefully that helped dig in a bit more. If you find a better way to kind of describe what you're getting to with property dualism, call me back, because I didn't hate this as much as I normally hate quality discussions. And if you go to my YouTube channel, if you go to my YouTube channel back in April, I posted a video called, I think, Quashing Qualia, like around April.
Okay. So none of the arguments, like the knowledge argument or anything like it, any whatsoever appealing to you?
Well, it depends on what you mean by appealing. I don't find them convincing. There are things that may be appealing in some respect. The closest they come to being appealing is that I think if they were correct, it would give us a slightly more accurate understanding. And I'm always in favor of a more accurate understanding. I just don't see any reason to think they're correct yet. And I'm certainly not willing to act as if they're correct before such time as is warranted. So whatever appeal they have is like, there's a bag of licorice downstairs. It has an appeal to me, but I have a bag up here already, so I don't need the one downstairs.
Right.
And if I had a chocolate chip cookie, I still wouldn't need the one downstairs. So it's kind of like, I understand, I have an understanding of the brain. I don't know what your model adds to it that is of any value. It just seems to be like, hey, we've got some kind of mystery to describe. So let's give it a label, but we don't want to say it's a soul. So instead of substance dualism, we'll go property dualism. I'm not convinced that the dualism is justified at all.
Okay. Well, it's nice talking to you.
Yep. Thanks, Ethan. I will say you might have been, you were one of the best callers of the day. So I don't want to say the best because Maureen had good questions about the it pronouns and stuff like that. But between Dirk and Clyde, Ethan's got him beat hands down.
Yeah. Ooh, that was a fun one.
I tell you, we got a bunch of super chats, and we are going to get to those super chats right now, as is evidenced by the fact that the producer extraordinaire has already loaded up $10 from the Atheist Mechanic. Thus, administration is a goddamn shame and a stain on this country that will take way too long to remedy, sadly. I think you mean this administration, and I agree.
Yep, the recovery from this
is... a typo.
Thank you for $9.99 from Greg Markowski, who says, we needed to get for-profit insurance companies out of health insurance. All they do is add cost to healthcare. True. No notes.
And hey, Greg, thanks. $10 from Joshua Everett. Thank you very much. Here's to making it through another Wednesday. I like this hosting duo, Lux Week on the line. It is pretty much Lux Week on the line in some respects. And Arden and I were talking. Tomorrow. Arden and I were talking because we were planning out the schedule and everything else, and she's like, I don't have a guest for you for Wednesday. And we're like looking through the, in my head of who haven't I done it with for a while and everything else. And I was like, can we just get Lux back on? And Arden's like, well, you did a show with Lux not too long ago. I'm not sure if it's ready to come back on. And I was like, well, ask it and we'll see.
I felt like the callers were so much more normal. Eric?
It's okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No. We had a conversation about Eric as well, but I thought that we were having a discussion. And I was just excited to be able to get Lux back on. So I'm glad other people are liking it too.
Yeah. I normally stream on Wednesdays. So if I come on here, I'm like, I'll tell all the people, like, I'll be on with Matt tonight. I'm not doing my own stream. Although, like, lately I'm just talking about nonsense anyway and kind of trying to avoid politics. So this gets me back in the game, back in the zone. Is this one for me to read?
Yep.
Thank you for $9.99 from Outwitted by Fish. Fascinating. I've given up on defeatism. Let's face it, it's never going to work. Nice.
I got to get my defeat looked at.
Mm-hmm.
$10 from God's Sinner. I find it funny Matt talks about not using the mute button as much, but then people like Dirk come in and the choice to use mute is forced from Karika. Yeah. I desperately, like, when there's a solution that doesn't have lag, that's when we'll find out kind of what's really going on. Because honestly, it's fucking exhausting to have people just blatantly misrepresent your position. You correct them and they go right back to misrepresenting your position again. I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, it's difficult. $10 from the Atheist Mechanic says, calling Kirk a hero is so bizarre. He was the furthest thing from a hero. Yeah, that's the thing about the fascism, is that it's just like all lies all the time. Like almost every single thing is a lie. And it's maddening. But yeah, they're going to keep doing it. So get used to it, I guess.
It is absolutely wild. The obvious nature. I mean, there's no mask. There's no smart lie. There's not even a half-assed attempt to lie. It's wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're coming for your rights.
Mm-hmm. And with an LOL and a meme.
Yeah. $10 from the Atheist Mechanic. It's laughable. They think of leftist terrorist cells. I'd argue the right has the terror cells on the left. Yeah, you and the data would both agree with that. But
yeah, you and the FBI.
The problem is that we have atheists like Clyde who have been terrified for no good reason. And Lux made an incredibly great point that I think skipped past Clyde and everybody else. There's all this time where we didn't have any rules about, oh, here's a law saying you can't go in this bathroom. And it wasn't a concern. And Clyde's response to that was incredibly telling. We didn't think we needed one. Correct. You didn't think you needed one, but now you do. So what's changed? What's changed is there's not been an increase in the number or type of sexual predators that are likely to go into a bathroom at all. There's not been an increase in men who are willing to pretend to be women in order to get access to that area. What there's been is an increase of awareness that not everybody fits into the backwards buckets that people want to put them into, and that there's an entire group of people representing a portion of the population that are trans. Some of them all of them would just like to be left alone, be treated with a little respect and dignity. They, like cis women who you may not find particularly attractive or who you think might not be feminine enough, they would all like to not be under your gaze, Clyde, to determine if they're feminine enough to be allowed to use a space that you yourself should not be allowed in by your own rules. And yet you're happy to march in with your observation. You are a hypocritical bucket of goop. And I
most
see that
importantly,
there's
he is a danger to women. Like that is
Yes.
a danger to women, like who are just like I told him, there's cisgender women who just don't pass the test according to people like him who think that they're 100% correct all the time. And it's like, yeah, you are harassing and accosting women because you think you can tell who has a penis. Like, I don't even know. You got the waggle when you walk or something. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for $10 from Zeno Tesedro, who says, hello from Texas. I recently read Section 9 of the General Provisions of the Constitution of the Republic of Texas for the first time. Holy shit, is that not literal evil, indefensible without a Bible? I didn't hear about this.
Section 9. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, is that like a policy platform or something?
If it is what I think it is, well, we're not going to be able to dig in on that right at the moment.
Mhm.
But if it's indefensible without a Bible, then it's indefensible because the United States is not allowed to depend on the Bible for defensive things. $10 from Sunnyside Ramsey. I've been a trained street medic at protests since 2016. Never ever treated so many protesters for less lethal injuries at the hands of cops than I have in the last week alone from ICE alone.
True. Sharp escalation. Thank you for another $10 from the Atheist Mechanic, who says trans rights are human rights. True. Agreed. I thought I had a pride flag somewhere on my desk, but it's behind me.
From Joshua Everett. Thanks again, Joshua. Clyde thinks about peens more than my doctor. True. And it sounds like he has a wonderful one. I wish he would have been brave enough to actually send me the picture. Because, I don't get sent dick pics. And it never really bothered me before. But if I'm going to be interacting with people who think they can always tell, I wonder if they can always also tell how big it is. Like, since that seems to be the primary concern, It's like, ooh, not only can I tell that that person has a penis, but it's a really nice one. I would acknowledge that if somebody has, like a massive penis, sometimes there's going to be a huge bulge almost, depending on what they're wearing. You could be right. But you know what? It could also be a potato, because there are some people who are so embarrassed by their tiny little micro penis that they want to stick something down in there, just like there are people who stuff bra. And all of these are about society's bigotry about our bodies that nobody should be concerned about. I don't care how big or small your penis is. I don't care how big, loose, tight, what kind of shape, what kind of vulva for your genitalia. I don't care how, if your titties are too big or too small, if your ears hang low, if your nose is too big, if your tongue is bifurcated, none of it matters. It's your body. You're fine the way you are. And if you don't like the way you are and should be completely free to change it, because you are the God of your body. I know that's going to get clipped out and they're going to be, see, this is the problem with the left. They have made themselves God. Yes, because I fucking exist. I am the God of my life. I answer to no one unless I want to. And the thing is, I do want to. I answer to my partner. I've answered to the government. I served 8.5 years in the military. I answer to my friends, to my doctor. I hold myself accountable as a functional, contributing part of society. But I'm not going to run around and be like, well, I can tell. Why would I even want to tell? What are my chromosomes, Clyde? Can you tell that too? That's why you don't want to take that bet, you bigot.
Thank you for $10 from the Atheist Mechanic, who says, who is seriously going into the bathroom to look at what people have? It's exactly what I was trying to say. Like, there's an enforcement problem. If Clyde thinks that he's the one who can always tell, well, we only have one Clyde, and I doubt that he can always tell. So, like, yeah, who is going to look? Like, that was the problem with the law in Kansas that passed before I moved, was that there was no real enforcement mechanism. It wasn't clearly like trespassing or anything. Like, they didn't make it a clear crime. It's just like, oh, here's an opportunity to arrest people, detain people, bother them, accost them, make sure that they feel unwelcome in public spaces. And like, yeah, just statistically speaking, cis women get hit more often because there are more of them. But they don't think about that. They don't really care about women's safety ultimately.
Yeah, whoever wrote in about the Section 9 part of the general things in the Texas Constitution, I'm not finding what you're referencing, so I'm sorry, but you're going to have to do another super chat. You don't have to, but I mean, I don't know how to answer it because I don't know specifically what you're talking about. But thank you anyway. $10 from Uru. Is that right? Uru? Or, oh no, it'd be Bandit. It almost looks like Uwu, but with an R there, but I don't know. Matt, your clapbacks give me life. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm sorry that I fucking suck at figuring out how to say your name.
Thanks for 10 Canadian from Quantum Chaos, who says, Clyde, you don't have trans friends. You just know trans people. Stop trivialating their experience and their right to exist in the world. Also be a better father. Holy moly, dude. What the darn heck? True. That was a good one.
Wow. I mean, trivialate. And it turns out Quantum Chaos isn't alone. $10 from Darren McAuliffe. How dare you trivialate this conversation? I'll say, boy, come here. Let me trivialate you for a moment.
I was just thinking about Foghorn Leghorn. That's so funny.
I'm glad the impression was good enough for anybody to get it.
It was good. Yeah. Foghorn Leghorn is a good one. Thank you for $10 from the Atheist Mechanic, who says, for a veteran, Clyde can't seem to follow instruction very well. True.
To be fair, I'm a veteran. I ran First Division. I would not hold military members as being especially good in general at following instructions. What I would hold them to is a sense of discipline and duty for the most part, where they would like to think they're following the instructions, but it doesn't always happen, which is why we have non-judicial punishment and other things. Anyway, that's fair. $14.99 from Cherry Feck. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's incredibly insightful.
Yeah. $10 from Space Barbarian. Thank you. Says, thoughts on Willett's law. He defines conservatism as there must be in-groups whom the law protects but does not bind, alongside out-groups whom the law binds but does not protect. I mean, it's correct, right? Like, that's what fascism is.
Yeah, in groups who the law protects but doesn't bind, and out groups who the law binds but doesn't protect. Yes. That
I hear you. I know what you're doing.
I don't know if that I
The
don't
idea
know.
here, I think, is like,
Gonna
if
get in
something
trouble.
is, it's like illegal, but it's not actually being punished only on certain groups of people. So, like, like not using your turn signal is illegal, but if you're white, it's legal. Like, it's only if you're black that you get pulled over for traffic violations like that. So it's
Yeah.
like that is one aspect of it, and then yeah, like there are groups who are specifically allowed to break the law. Like hate crimes are illegal, but the law is flexible and permissive about white supremacist violence. So they are like protected by the law because they'll be like, oh, well, you can't do anti-white racism. That's not against, they're like, that's against the rules. But their anti-black racism is protected. So that creates that imbalance is what this is kind of going for, I think.
I absolutely I agree with the description as to what's going on. I'm just not sure that that is the definition of conservatism, nor am I convinced that it's necessarily the definition of fascism, but it is definitely an idea that is encapsulated in both the current regime, in Christian nationalism, in any of these sorts of ostracizing versions of liberty for me, but not for thee things. And I don't know that it's fair, because while I'll go after Clyde and others who are like, I'm an atheist, but I'm a conservative, then you're an idiot because you'd like nice stuff, but you don't want to pay for it. I mean, I'm moderate, socially liberal and economically conservative. Those are the people who want nice things. They just don't want to pay for it. Conservatism, I don't know, because Donald Trump is basically declaring that anybody who's opposed to traditional American values, which he never defines, is a violent extremist. I think I'm opposed to traditional American values, but I don't know for sure, because to me, the truly traditional American values are embodied in the Constitution of the United States. And I am overwhelmingly supportive of most of the Constitution of the United States, not parts like, the Three-Fifths Compromise and the things that we had to amend in order to give women the right to vote and to own property and have bank accounts and, I don't know, be people. Those parts of the Constitution were correctly changed. And there might be some other areas of the Constitution that we should also change, like reworking the Second Amendment so that we have sensible gun laws and gun rights, so that we don't have to keep going, nope, doesn't matter how many kids die, I'm going to keep my guns, and then I'm just going to make sure that the T-slurs can't have them after they took out my martyr hero.
I never thought that I would be saying conservative things like come and take them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's funny.
$10 in the fuzzy logic. I never thought.
Oh, I didn't know who read it in that last one.
I never thought anyone would top, quote, my evidence is science and logic. Congrats, Clyde, for exceeding my expectations with your ridiculous observations. Well done, you no talent ass clown.
Crazy.
Ed Lux hates you.
Thank you for $20 from Sentient Tree, who says, my young Earth creationist dad accidentally instinctively used the correct pronouns at my niece's adoption for a person there who was seeing the judge before my brother. I'll cherish that memory forever. Hashtag no, you can't always tell. Hashtag Team Void. Yes. He's gone. I'm not going to go get him again.
Wait, Team Void. I'm sorry. Is Void yours?
Yeah, that's my black kitty, because I have picked him up. That super chat came in while I was picking him up earlier, I think. Do you guys have a Void too?
Arden, I think we might have to change a name.
Well, my cat is just Mitternacht, and people just call him the Void because he's giant and the black cat thing. But yeah, his name is Midnight in German.
Yesterday, I picked up an 8-foot Bredl's carpet python, and the previous owner had named it Void because it's a you can feed it a jumbo rat and it'll be ready to take another one and another one and another one. It's like a void that you just keep dumping rats into.
That
By the
makes
way,
perfect sense.
if somebody does a $100 super chat before we get done with these that says, please show me void, I will go down and get that 8-foot carpet python. But I'm not getting off my ass for less than that. This one's yours.
Sure. 10 Australian from Darren McAuliffe says, no penis should be allowed in the women's room except mine, Clyde. Basically, yeah, he's the only one who can be trusted, I guess.
That is fair. $10 from One-Eyed Heathen said, void baby is cute, void.
It's true. He was even licking me and stuff. Cute baby.
Sweet.
Thank you for $10 from Alyashana Silverbow, who says, what does a cat order at a bar? A whisker sour. Why aren't cats religious? They don't like dogma. Why did the cat have trouble writing a second novel? He only had one tale to tell. Hashtag Team Mitternacht. Really had to pack him in.
I don't know. It should be able to write. It may not be able to write a second novel, but it should be able to write 8 autobiographies.
That's true.
$20 from Jack. I don't know FAFSA.
Is that the thing that you apply to when you need college money?
That's
the
the
federal
only
student
FAFSA
aid?
I've ever heard of.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Money in a heart. Sweet. $10 from One-Eyed Heathen. Go ahead. I did that.
I don't
was a
remember
mistake.
who's next. $10 from One-Eyed Heathen. I'm a polyphelist. I worship many cats. Also, I really don't understand people like died. I guess Clyde. I just don't get that level of fear. Genuinely, like the level of like concern trolling about what other people are doing and like my daughter this, my daughter that. Like, no, you are the man that people fear entering the women's room.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go on Sermon 93 for the evening.
Yeah.
But I find it personally offensive and disgusting that people like Clyde are actively seeking to victimize and make trans lives worse while pretending that he or his daughter are at any risk from any trans person. No data to back it up. No, nothing. Just, oh, hey, here we go. I'm just worried. I think it's immoral. Well, nobody gives a shit what you think, Clyde. But while you're at it, why don't you tell me how you and your daughter are the victims more when somebody comes in to pee? It is so wild that you can sit there and pretend like you're the fucking victim when trans people are trying to get passports to get the fuck out of this fascist fucking country.
No joke.
Fuck you, Clyde. $10 from Moonquaker. Thank you. A star is its brightest when it goes supernova and dies forever. Could this be the beginning of the end of religious dominionism? What are your thoughts? We can't take the foot off the gas. So I said for years that what we're seeing is sort of the last gasp of a dying dragon in religion. I don't think it'll ever go away, but I think it's in one of its last big throes, and then there's going to be reaction. The problem is we can't stop reminding people, because if we do make it through this, we have to take steps to make sure that we don't ever have to go through this again. That the Constitution and the rule of law are protected, that the rights of individuals are protected, that the president is not a god, president is not an emperor, that the president can't just go through and point. We need Democrats to have a fucking spine, and we need Republicans to learn some fucking integrity. Until then, we're fucked.
True. Thanks for $10 from Fairburn, who says, Matt and Arden, have you seen or heard of the Legend of Vox Machina animated show on Prime Video? If yes, do you know why the show exists, its history, and lastly, do you know the musician Ren?
I don't know anything other than the musician Ren.
I saw the show up there. I don't know anything about it.
And I only know a passing reference to the musician Ren from, I think, one video where, if I remember right, they're like in almost like a clinical green gray room, sitting on a chair, playing a song. I think that's what enters my head when I think of Ren, but I don't know.
Related to Critical Role? I think it might be related to Critical Role. I feel like I do remember that. The animation style looks pretty good, but I don't know anything about it.
Yes. So, wow. I did a pretty good job of remembering and describing it. So, I won't have you one up me, but if you just go to YouTube and just type in Ren, R-E-N space, the very first one is Ren, and it's Hi Ren. It's the official music video from 2 years ago with 60 million views, playing guitar in a worn down clinical green, gray, blue room. So that's all I know, though. So I don't want to pretend like I know more than I do. That would be what the theists do.
Mm.
And the transphobes. They know your chromosomes, Lux. They can smell them from the other side of the room.
Oh man, they got smell-o-vision. Oh, I'm jealous. God. Is this one for me?
Yeah, go for it.
$10 from Ace Arrow Anarchist, who says, I'm behind, just finished the Clyde call. Statistically, Clyde, his brothers, and other trusted men in his daughter's life are the ones who will hurt her, just saying. Oh my God, yeah, we didn't even get into that, it's more often going to be family members or family friends rather than like total strangers. Yeah. But that's the thing is like these people live in a world full of boogeymen that they've invented, like they don't have real problems in their lives, clearly, or they're needing to distract from the problems by making up some other shit to focus on.
And it's like, it's really weird. Like I had a bit in my opening that I skipped over. I think I skipped over, and that's that Bad Bunny was announced to be the Super Bowl halftime show. And the MAGA folks lost their damn mind and are, oh, English is the national language and it's good to use Spanish and blah, 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 and just all the bigotry. And it's like, oh, we couldn't get Americans. Never mind the fact that they didn't complain about any number of non-Americans who were there. But Bad Bunny's a fucking American. He's from Puerto Rico. I'm glad they put him on SNL. I hadn't even heard. Like I couldn't identify a Bad Bunny song to save my life. I can pick out Eminem, Chappell Roan, Sabrina Carpenter, Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift. I can do Journey. I can do Dr. Dre. I can do the Sound of Music soundtrack. I can do Phantom of the Opera. I don't know a Bad Bunny song, but you know what I want to do now? I want to play Bad Bunny on a loop. If I can actually listen to it, and I can listen to any good music. I don't care about a genre. Country, rap, rock, pop, folk, singer-songwriter, lo-fi background. I don't give a shit. If it's musically good, I'm there. And so if Bad Bunny's got some good shit, I'm gonna find out. Because if it's pissing off MAGA to the point where they're just pulling the mask down and going, but he's brown, I definitely have to listen to that.
$10 from the Atheist Mechanic says, hey, Matt, I got my baby snake to eat. Just wanted to thank you and Arden for the advice. You two are awesome, along with everyone at the line. Great show tonight. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We worked at Reptile Expo last weekend and sold quite a few snakes, a couple of bearded dragons. And as we do we've done like 3 or 4 times now. Occasionally at these expos, we'll get some young kid who's incredibly excited to get their first snake. And they've done their research and they've watched Ed and Emily on Snake Discovery or whatever, or they've watched Clint's Reptiles. And they've got it all planned out and they've managed to talk to their parents and I'm going to be responsible. And I know we need this kind of enclosure and this. They put together stuff. And sometimes they've even saved up their own money. And then they'll come over and they'll look at the snakes on the table and we'll ask them which one they're most interested in. And because they're doing it on their own budget, they will absolutely, most of the time, point to one of the less than $100 snakes that are out there. And as we've done 3 or 4 times, when we just get that young person to promise they're going to take care of it, they're going to do the husbandry right, they're going to, feed it, look after it, make sure it's got the hot spot, and then we just give them a snake. Because I'm like a drug dealer, and I know that once they get one snake, they'll want 75 more of them. But the other thing is, I want to encourage people who are getting into the hobby and looking to keep pets that other people might look down on. I want to give them a leg up and show that there's good people in the community that really care about the animals and want people to enjoy these animals. I'm sorry that the super chat didn't come in, because I kind of half want to go get the new carpet python, but you'll see it on a show at some point, I guarantee. It's huge, and it's, oh my God, beautiful. It almost has the coloration of a magma blue-tongue skink in areas. It's wild. Glad your baby is eating.
10 units from Jessica, the most unique Doo-Doo McButtface, says, a most trivillatingly unique show, guys. I've been trying to figure out what Lux's tattoo is the whole show, and I still can't unsee the rear end of a pig with a twig sticking out of its bulbous ass. This is how I know you don't watch my streams, because I've shown this tattoo before. Like, it's a skull with a rose, and then like a rose petal, like a bud kind of coming up out of it. I don't know. It's a memento mori tattoo.
Nice. Definitely not a pig with a stick coming out of its butt.
No. But agree, it is fun to come on the show with Matt.
I want Seth Andrews to draw a picture of a pig with a stick sticking out of its butt, that we could maybe get as the next tattoo.
Yeah.
$10 from Dennis Rose. Lux, you've given me one of the best burns I've ever heard. I hope you pause, or stop, pause, breathing, pause voluntarily. I am reluctant to go down those paths, but I could appreciate the style.
It's just like, there's callers on TACIS are so much more normal. They're talking to a transphobe on one of the other shows. It's a little bit like, by the end of the conversation, I'm like, oh yeah, I think I hate you. All of the horrible things that you have said about me and the people that I care about. And like, we made no progress. Like, it's different if we make progress, but if we haven't made any progress and it's just, you're just as transphobic or just willing to say you're transphobic at the end of the conversation, I'm like, I wish bad things for you. I am not better than that. Sorry.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate. I have just enough privilege where I can get angry on behalf and stay marginally shielded. Although I must say, in the last couple of years, shielding's been pretty thin, and getting more terrifying every single day. Like, it's one thing for me to, throw around some bravado and be like, don't worry. If they come for you, they got to go through me. But let's be honest, going through me is not that difficult. I mean, it's just not. I mean, all it means is I'll be thrown to the ground just before they come in to do whatever. But, it's the thought that counts, I guess.
Yeah, it sucks to feel like, that sense of, and like, I think that my partner probably experiences it too. It's like a confidence that in an interpersonal situation, you could be there for your partner and like protect them, but knowing that you cannot protect your partner from like the government apparatus if it chooses to mobilize against them. Like, you as an individual do not have any power in that situation. And that has got to be difficult to like process. Just like being a person who's targeted is difficult to process, but knowing that you can't protect the people you love is so shitty.
Yeah. And it's not just me being, older, weaker, whatever else. None of you can do that. All of you bullshit, backwards militia dudes that are stockpiling guns so that you can stand up against the tyrannical government. Where are you? This is the tyrannical government. You ain't doing nothing. And by the way, you can't. When they turn the military against their own citizens, you and your stockpile of AR-15s and whatever else you've got and all that, You are not going to be a match. They don't even have to do anything. They can starve you out, but they won't need to. I mean, I don't think people understand. I don't know what a civil war looks like in 2025, 2026, whatever. Nobody does. I don't know what a world war looks like. And yet both of those things seem plausible in a weird sense.
Yeah.
And what it's wild to watch the MAGA folks kind of cheer it on. Like they're cheering on a genocide. They're cheering on a 34-time convicted felon who's not even bothering to really lie. It's wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We're going to come fuck up those trans folks. And Paxton here in Texas. And it's just it is lie after lie after lie after lie. Because if they can make you afraid of your fellow citizens, they can get you to turn on them and support them so that you're the last one to get eaten. They are like Cthulhu. And they will gobble up everyone who's remotely challenging and expendable until the only people left are the military that they control and the workers who do their bidding. $20 from Benny Royd. Hello from Ferndale. Thank you for these nights of live chat. I'm learning a lot. I have admitted to my family that I'm an atheist. They told me to go to church and sent me Bible verses. Been there.
Unsurprising.
I'd also recommend reaching out to recoveringfromreligion.org, another organization that we love and work with. There are people there who've been through this and know people who've gone through it with lots of things to potentially offer.
Thank you for the $10 from Bleeding Roses, who says, grew up in a fundamentalist Baptist church and have been an atheist for about 5 years. Glad to be on the side of history for human rights, not against. Thank you both for an inspiring show. Thank you.
Amen, Bleeding Roses. Uh-oh.
All right. He's probably asleep. I'll do it. I'll go wake him up. I'll do it.
My void is significantly bigger and much more hassle to go get, which is why I put a steeper price on it. But I can guarantee you can see a picture of void on our Insta.
Mr. Baby.
Oh,
he wasn't totally asleep. Yeah.
Hello. Does Void knock
he's like,
stuff
so
off
bright
of,
in here?
Does Void knock stuff off of every flat surface constantly?
He is too fat to jump on anything. So he is free of mischief only because he has to climb up things. He definitely expresses interest in places that he's not supposed to be. But this is the thing. I've been thinking about getting him a kitten just to like have a little buddy while we're gone or whatever, or like someone to sleep with because we don't let him in the bedroom at night. But if we get another cat, there is risk that that cat will be let's scale the refrigerator and get on top of the cabinets kind of cat. So risky business.
Risk if you come take our cat.
Oh, yeah?
Our cat does that constantly.
Mm-hmm. Dive bombing from the top of the refrigerator.
Climbs on everything. And we have a house where we've just made more spaces for it to climb on everything and knock everything off. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, it'll ignore something on a table all day until Arden and I sit down after the show. Mm-hmm. And then it will walk up, stare at one of us, look down, swat it right off the table, and then look back up like, what the fuck are you going to do?
Clearly wants something from you. Oh, gosh. Thanks for $10 from Perry, who says, I'm transmasculine, mostly go by he, they pronouns, and started T on September 24th. Congrats. I'm wondering when I should use the men's bathroom because I'm nowhere near comfortable yet. Also, I enjoyed you two, especially Matt swearing.
Oh,
yeah.
Fucking thing.
I mean, it's, yeah. It's entirely dependent on like your personal experience. Like probably what's going to happen is there's going to be a brief period of time where you start to realize that people are not happy with you being in the men's room. but you might not feel like you fully pass in the men's room. Or sorry, they don't want you in the women's room. I had that happen before I even started hormones. It was super weird. But yeah, so it's just going to be really subjective, and you might plan for a period of time while you're super androgynous to like mostly pee at home, or make sure you start identifying places where there are gender neutral bathrooms in public. And then I don't know, probably like by the time facial hair starts coming in, it should be easier to use men's bathrooms, but totally up to your discretion.
Okay, this is going to be super weird. $10 in alleged money from Quantum Chaos. Matt, have you seen the musical based on your debate with Peterson by Compassion Fatigue? It is the one thing that still brings me joy in this dark and scary world. Also, his Matt costume is a solid 10 out of 10.
I had no idea this was thing.
I have never heard of this until right now. Arden, can you bigify me?
Yeah, one sec.
Okay. I'm assuming you're talking about this, and I'm gonna keep it muted. Holy crap. So I would have to turn the filter off, but so that's his Matt Dillahunty costume there with the bald cap and a little thing. And then let me see if I can make this smaller. Well, we'll do it this way. In any case, here it is kind of playing a little bit, but I thought this would be nice if we started with something quick and easy and simple. Is this genuinely music? Well, I hope I don't get a copyright strike, but
I can't hear it.
Oh,
I just turned on the audio over here, and yeah, he is singing through whatever this dialogue is.
that is absolutely wild. I had never heard of that. How old is that? Oh, it's only 6 months
awesome.
old. Okay.
Performance art.
Wow. Honey, I'm in a musical, kind of. That's
Amazing.
nuts. I will try and watch it, even though I don't like me or things about me. But you know what? If you say it brings you joy, I'll give it a whirl.
Thanks for $10 from Fairburn, who says, yes, it's Critical Role. They had a $750,000 crowdfund goal. Fans ended up giving them $10+ million for the Vox Machina thing. And then from Ren, Tale of Jenny and Screech. Ren, Tale of Jenny and Screech is a 3-part masterpiece, 19-ish minutes long, actor, musician, and great writer. Cool.
Well, that is, unless somebody gets a quick super chat in, that is the final super chat for today. So I'm going to do something that I only do every now and then, and there's been no advance warning. There are a bunch of shows coming up here on the line, including the Transatlantic Call-In Show tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central with Ben and Josie. And you can tune in on Sunday to the Sunday Show. I'll be back at 2 p.m. Central with Austin Archer, and the Sunday Show After Dark is going to be Forrest and Eric from Skeptics and Scoundrels. And then the next Monday is going to be Forrest and Erica doing a long Skeptalk, probably, but not crazy long. We'll see. And then Chewed Gum next week at 6 p.m. Central on Tuesday. I've said way too much stuff. Lux, the show is yours. Conclude. Give someone thought. Give them hope. Give them a thank you. Do the likes, the subs, whatever that. I relinquish the remainder of this show to Luxander. I'm going to have to retract it because I think you're muted.
Am I muted? Oh, bummer. There was a loud noise outside.
No, I relinquished the rest of the show.
Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, no. Anyway, what I was about to say was go to patreon.com/calltheline because LineCon's going to come up soon in a couple weeks. We don't have a schedule for it yet, but you can get in on the live show when it's happening, private Patreon thing. And also, my channel is at Luxander Real on YouTube if you want to check it out. I just made a video about True Blood, which I don't know. Maybe you'll want to watch it, Matt, because I know you guys just finished True Blood. So. Messy gay metaphor. And then I don't have anything else for today. Bye, everybody. Get in the credits.
I have to say something because it's vampy. It's dead air. Patreon.com/calltheline. Don't forget line merch. Don't forget about the LineCon online. All that stuff that everybody already said over and over again. But because there's a scrolling list of producers who help keep all this on. And by the way, you guys, there's only 647 likes down there. You guys got to get on this and share this because we could get canceled any second.